TGIF spells to give in most places.
Wow.
But here means thank God it's Friday. Welcome everybody to Midnight's Edge in the Morning. I'm Tom Connors. With me as always is the boss man, Andre. How you doing?
Greetings, everyone, and thanks for joining us on this lovely Friday. At least it's lovely where I am, but I guess local experience may vary.
Exactly. And fade in, Rob. I didn't mean like that. How you doing?
Oh, fantastic. I love the smell of a Moog synthesizer in the morning.
As I said, individual experience may vary.
Andre, are you familiar with what a Moog synthesizer is?
I can't claim that I am. I could say it, but I'd be lying.
It's that instrument you hear a wow, and the
okay.
thing. The Beatles song because the world is round. It's that weird kind of like artificial instrument you hear. It doesn't sound natural.
Okay, stop. Tron, the whole soundtrack is moving.
Okay. Yeah. It's you hear it, but you never notice.
It's the old version of a synthesizer.
Yeah, it's like one of the first synthesizers. Yeah. We have, and we use it as part of our theme.
And to anyone wondering, where's the drinker? He will be joining us a little
shortly.
Bit later on. He will be joining us.
He's on the stupor.
He has to sober up a little bit first.
He's drinking. I mean, where else would he be?
Just a little bit. Yeah, he's like, you know what we call it in Norway when you're completely in a drunken stupor and you can't function. So you have to drink a little bit more just to get back on track. We call it to repair. He's doing repairs, and he'll be joining us when he's done.
I think you call
repairs.
that the hair of the dog that bit you here.
I watch a lot of stuff in 1.5 speed now on YouTube. So every time I click on a new video, it sounds like John Moshida, the guy who used to do those FedEx ads. Where's the drinker? What does he do? Oh, he's opening it up.
You the Micro Machine guy?
Yeah, the Micro Machines guy. Yeah.
More people know him as the Micro Machine guy. Rob.
Okay, yeah, this guy great. Well, FedEx back in the day. FedEx would positively has to be there overnight.
Nobody remembers them.
Blur from Transformers, the movie.
Yeah, everybody remembers him, but they remember him as the other guy, not the
fast talking guy,
the Micro Machines guy.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, Stephanie Janicek, Red Sonja is a redhead, not difficult. Thank you.
Why am I saying
Why am I saying thank you? Why am I saying? Well, yeah, because she dropped a super chat.
Well, that's why you're saying thank you.
So thank you for that. And we will be talking much about that. And Exploding Prinny says redheads are an endangered species in Hollywood.
Evidently, Google will not let him say endangered together.
Evidently, but you know what? Redheads aren't an endangered species just in Hollywood, but on a worldwide scale as well. If redheads are not the smallest minority in the world, they're close to it. Like they're right up there on the list of the absolute smallest minorities there are across the board.
Well, isn't being a redhead...
They just happen to be one that's an acceptable target.
Well, isn't being a redhead like a recessive gene anyway? I mean, isn't that why? I don't know.
I think it's something like that. I don't know.
All I know is
they make the hottest chicks.
And Cartman organized them into a hate group, and so
because he is ginger.
Well, right now it would appear that the hate group is the one from Hollywood against them, but we're going to get into that. But yeah, Rob, you were saying
I heard some excuse, some reason that it has to do with the lighting in a lot of movies, and like I'm not sure if I'm buying that.
That's complete
horseshit.
Yeah,
that's complete and utter bullcrap. I mean, if there's if I'm not even going to get into the light, let's just say that the lighting and stuff like that, it's a thing in movies. It really, really is. Redheads aren't the problem.
That lighting. Oh, it's some BS reason. Oh, It's not a receipt. Natasha says it's not a recessive gene. It's a random one. My dad was a ginger. Oh, okay. Well, thank you for clarifying that, actually. Yeah. But I heard some BS excuse. Oh, well, the lighting makes them look more pale, juxtaposed to the other actors. I'm like, I'm not buying that. I'm not buying that.
Don't, because that's complete bull crap. But anyway, as you can see from the highlights on screen here, we have quite the crowd joining us. Just keep that super chat on screen there from the last millennial, because we'll get to it. But we have many others here. We have Lillian Borg, who kind of sounds like a Nordic redhead, but forgive me if I'm wrong. Natasha is here. Mags is here. Shum is here. And Pinhead is here. So we have some celebrity company. Jason Gallagher is here. Chaos is here. That is,
you know what I saw yesterday?
No, do share.
Hellraiser's coming to 4K out of Germany.
Really? Oh, wow. Cool.
Cool. I love that name. Shum. Sounds like a warrior. Shum.
Yeah. Well, it looks like I'll be getting Hellraiser again. I don't think there's any movie that I have in as many versions as Hellraiser.
I've got quite a few myself.
I've had let's see, because there's so many of them. So I had the first 4 in VHS, and I had all of them on DVD, and as many as I could get in Blu-ray, and I had multiple editions of the first in Blu-ray and on DVD, and now 4K. So yay, good stuff. Always fun. But yeah, we also have a couple of super chats. And the last millennial says, "Don't worry, guys, I'm here now. Let's talk in humans." Yeah, okay, we're going to talk so much redheads and everything else today. So let's talk a little bit in humans first. I do believe, actually, there is a redhead in Inhumans, isn't there, Rob?
Yeah, Medusa, the queen.
Exactly. Yeah. Now, the background here is that on Wednesday's show, the last millennial sent us 2 super chats that we didn't go through because it didn't fit with the topic at hand. So we said we'll do them today. That's what we're doing right now. The first one was, Rob, if we do Inhumans, what do you think of Adam Canto as Black Bolt? I was considering Dylan Bruce, but I think organic diversity is important. And then he says, P.S. I'm a filmmaker and fan of the Inhumans, and I've thought a lot about this. Andre, can you please bring those 2 actors up so you guys know what I mean? Okay, let's do that. Let's bring up the pictures of Adam Canto and Dylan Bruce that the last millennium has thought a lot about for Black Bolt. So I'm going to see if I can find the pictures here, because I have them right here. Here's one of them. And this guy, this is Adam Canto.
Whoa, okay.
What do you think of this guy for Black Bolt?
Okay, handsome guy. All right. I've never seen him in anything else, but okay. I could we could work with that.
Yeah. And the other one. See, I'm just going to bring him up here.
They very rarely show Black Bolt without a mask in the Inhuman, and when they do, it's usually they do a lot of it in shadow because they want them that air of mystery, yeah. the silent brooding king. So,
and the other one then is Dylan Bruce, who's the one you're seeing right now.
Okay.
How do you like him for Black Bolt?
All right, both guys are we can work with both guys there.
Looks like a young Ben Affleck or so.
Yeah, he does. Yeah, he's got the square jaw.
Yeah.
Okay.
Could you work with Ben Affleck for Black Bolt?
Yeah. Well, maybe if he was maybe 15 years younger. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
does his age really even matter that much in the character?
Not really. An older Black Bolt might work better, in fact, because
I was going to say, because Anson Mount's not the youngest puppy in the world either.
No, and like I said, if you want to go Black Bolt, who's maybe late 40s, early 50s, even that probably would work a lot better because he's been worn down by having to control his power, by the responsibility of being king,
mm-hmm.
And having to deal with the encroaching world of civilization,
And also, Rob, Nate G, he sends a super chat that I know that you will appreciate. He says, if lighting redheads is too difficult for Hollywood, they need to hire some porn lighting guys because they're great at it.
No shit.
I'll tell you, there is actually a setting years ago on a lot of video cameras that was a porn setting. It was called soft. It was a lot of it was just soft or light, whatever. But a lot of porn filmographers, if you want to call them that, would use that setting.
So yeah, Rob's sitting here pretending it was put there for the porn. No, that's not how it works, Rob. They just used it.
Really? What do you mean it wasn't put there for porn?
Yeah, no. Yeah, it wasn't necessitated for the porn.
Oh, well, they're good.
It was just very practical for that.
It was just practical for that
every
purpose.
day.
Yes.
Oh, I'm so disappointed by that news now.
And then it makes Rob look better because it has soft focus. That's all.
Oh yeah.
Now we just know that Rob's recording all his porn in VHS.
And,
what better way?
That setting is very, very good for redheads, which again we are going to get back into. Now, moving on to with the classic super chats, I can no longer get on screen, and anyone that have just joined us, the drinker will be here as soon as he sobers up enough, or that he is sufficiently drunk that he can be on the live mic, whichever you prefer to look at it. So he'll be here as soon as his alcohol content is quite sufficient.
I want the drinker to play Abraham Lincoln in a sketch I wrote about Daniel Day-Lewis, Ireland's greatest actor, as America's greatest president. Sod off your wanker! I'll put an end to this civil war.
Meanwhile, we then have these classic super chats, and Cesario JPN says Andre forgot to mention Queen of Swords in the Zorro retrospective redux. Not 100% linked to Zorro, but a great example of adapting the Zorro legend. Yeah, no, actually, I didn't forget it. It actually was a deliberate omission, and here's why. There are literally hundreds of Zorro titles to go through. And we kind of had to make a selection. Which ones do we go with, and which ones do we leave, and which one do we leave out? Like this time, we actually were aware of Queen of the Swords. However, you will notice that in the Zorro retrospective, as published last night, instead of saying that there are 3 female Zorros, we now say that there are multiple, to make room for that there are others, such as the Queen of Swords. So she's indirectly referenced by not being completely ruled out by the implication that there are more than the 3 that we brought up. But I figured that between Lady Rawhide and the Black Whip, we had quite sufficient, not quite female Zorros, but still all but female Zorros. So that's with that. And then Stephanie Yanni Sex Smuggler's Cantina said Red Sonja is a redhead. It's not difficult. No, it shouldn't be, but apparently it is, and we're going to get into that.
It's kind of in the name.
Yeah, very much so. So that's going to be fun to see what they do with that. And Mags says, happy Fade in Friday. Oh, thank you. And she said that twice even. Yeah, you didn't have to do that, but happy Fade in Friday to everyone. And Hyper Guyver 2 says, Hail Midnight Sedge. The blackwashing continues. And Dash D's says for 20 Canadian dollars. Thank you so much. In my opinion, only way Superman will work is if they leave his core character alone. His color, upbringing, and other fluff is flexible. However, Coates can't even leave Peterson alone, so I'm not holding my breath. Yeah, of course, you're referring to the author of
Coates.
Yeah, of course, but also like how he went after Peterson, the author of 12 Rules for Life, and basically rewrote like the Red Skull into him, portraying Peterson as a cultist that gets like a cult-like following by basically making him like a modern-day Yahtzee. So that's how that was portrayed. So yeah, good going there. And we'll get into Ta-Nehisi Coates and his values and how they no doubt will be infused into his Superman movie. And then Stephen Alton says, "Hail Andre, Tom, Rob, Drinker, Wrenchers, and Midnighters. Robot Monkeys, Tom." All right. And Nate G.
That comes from a story last night.
I figured it out to be something
well,
like that.
Yeah. Elon Musk figured out how to basically create cyborg monkeys that can control things with their mind.
We're screwed.
Yeah. And then on another side of the world, they're mixing human DNA with monkey DNA.
Oh, yeah, because we haven't seen that movie before.
Yeah.
The apes are rising, people. And I, for one, welcome my ape
I do believe that there was a certain Alex of whom we cannot say anything more about that said something about this years ago. But that's neither here nor there.
This is how the Planet of the Apes started, folks.
Yeah. Anyway, Ricardo Guira also says, "Who is Warner taking advice from in thinking the audience wants a black Superman? Have they focused group?"
We may have an answer to that.
Yes.
I think I have an answer for that, but you'll have to correct me if I'm wrong later.
Well, we may have what you would call, quote unquote, an inside track, or at least the excuse coming from inside Hollywood, from our buddy Scotty Mendelson. So we'll get into that after the super chats here.
That's never good.
No. He always loves to mansplain everything for us.
Yeah, actually, let's get. We have a few more super chats due, and we can do the ones we have on screen. Yeah, we got this one on screen. Who is already taking this? Yeah, and Clifton 3D says, "Soul-eating witches. Burn them at the stake." Oh, wait, no, I'm Ginger too.
A witch!
How do we know she's a witch, though, Rob?
We build a bridge out of it.
Then last millennial says, "Much appreciation, fellas. If the Inhumans do make it to the big screen, you'll know it was me. A fellow Midnight Eds member, name's Jacob, by the way." Well, thank you, Jacob. Can't say I've heard anything new about the Inhumans since they screwed it up before, but if we do hear anything new, we'll think of you. So Hyperguyver 2 says, "Why is Conan Production? This is why Conan Productions needs to buy out the rights to Red Sonja, if not protect the property from these vandals." Well, is that something we're going to get into, Andre, or did you want to address that?
Well, I can say that get into that real quickly, because of course we'll be talking loads of Red Sonja here, but to cover that one. Red Sonja and Conan Properties are two separate companies. Although Red Sonja started as part of Marvel's line of Conan books, at least the Red Sonja that we know and love today. The original one was created by Robert E. Howard. But the comic book character Red Sonja is not owned by Conan Properties. She was gradually removed in a series in corporate mergers and takeovers and stuff like that. So Red Sonja is owned by Red Sonja LLC. In order for Conan Properties to buy Red Sonja the character, then Red Sonja LLC would have to, for one thing, be willing to sell, and Conan Properties would have to be interested in acquiring the rights. And I don't think that either party are at the point where they're going to see eye to eye on that. In order to sell, I think that Red Sonja LLC would ask a much, much higher price than Conan Properties would be willing to part with, especially in light of them already having Conan. And they also have all the other female barbarians in their repertoire. So if they wanted to, they could do something with others, as indeed we have seen that they have done in the pages of Marvel Comics. So that's not gonna happen. in terms of protecting the rights from these vandals, I don't think that Red Sonja fans have too much to be excited about going forward. But before we get into Red Sonja, and to those that have just joined us, the drinker will be here soon as he's sufficiently drunk. But in the meantime, we see a lot of, what was the term, blackwashing. And our good friend Scott Mendelson of Forbes fame. Of course, it should be noted that whenever Scott Mendelson writes something, it's not really Forbes. Then it's really
usually an
the
opinion
Hollywood
piece.
Reporter or a Variety. Yes, opinion pieces that might as well have been in one of those two. But yeah, so he had an article. Tom, what can you tell us about this article?
Well, I was going to let our illustrious voice of Midnight's Edge go ahead and take a crack at some of it. It's a long-ass article.
All right.
But the main beef of it anyway. But before we do that, we got, is that Ilongo Savage? Am I saying
Longo
that right?
Savage, yeah. Is that a reference to Longo, the tribe in the Phantom? If so, that's awesome. If not, it's some reference that I have missed, but very cool name, and thanks for the donation.
All right, so if Rob wants to take the lead on this one, Scotty loves to. Well, Scotty just loves to. Is he not like the king of bad takes? But I don't think this is so much a take in this one because, like, you're right, Andre. Most of the time, it's opinion pieces, and this is kind of an opinion piece. But I think he's also kind of right here to a point. As far as like because he's kind of saying a lot of the same shit we've been saying for a while in this article.
I wonder where he's probably watching us. So I wouldn't doubt it. Joe, okay, Andre, Tom, just cut me off anytime you want, and if this gets too long into it.
Yeah, sure, go for it, and we'll comment in between. So just start reading.
Box office. Hollywood is using diversity to justify potentially doomed franchise reboots. By your good friends.
A strong start right here in the title.
Okay. Hollywood is using inclusivity and diversity as an alibi for rebooting outdated franchises and past their prime properties, setting an entire generation of not a white guy talent up to fail commercially.
No, this is interesting because so far it already seems that he's trying to say Hollywood is bad because they're doing all this tokenism and they're really setting the talent up to fail because no one wants this. That's like the implication so far, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. So far.
Yeah. Keep on reading.
I don't know who will play the quote-unquote new Superman in Ta-Nehisi Coates' penned and J.J. Abrams produced revamp. Michael B. Jordan is often offered up by folks arguing for an inclusive casting as one of the few black actors they can name. The other would probably be Idris Elba. That's my interjection. Think of those in the 2010s offering up Catherine Bigelow to direct every macho franchise because they couldn't think of any other mainstream female filmmakers. Among those on the list to direct, so saith The Hollywood Reporter from Wednesday, J.D. Dillard is an under-the-radar gem with a strong track record of smaller-scale genre winners. To paraphrase my favorite MCU movie, I couldn't care less about another Superman film. But that guy who directed Slate, starring 24-year-old Jacob Lattimore, and Sweetheart, I'll follow him anywhere. Oh, okay. So he's saying,
nice virtue signal right there.
Oh, yeah. Well, I'm on board, but I'm on board, guys. Don't worry, I'm on board.
Yeah, but moving on.
This new theatrical Superman, theoretical Superman movie would exist alongside Paramount's newest Transformers flick. It'll be helmed by Stephen Caple Jr., whose Creed 2 was much better than it should have been, considering the silly Adonis fights Ivan Drago's son nostalgia bait hook. It will star Anthony Ramos in The Heights, which I'm seeing on Sunday, and Dominique Fishback, Judas and the Black Messiah, whose director Shaka King is also on the list for both Superman and Marvel's Blade. Will it be any good? After Creed 2, Caple Jr. has earned my benefit of the doubt. Will anyone see the 7th Transformers movie when it opens theatrically on June 24th, 2022? Hope springs eternal, but presumed quality notwithstanding, recent history points to no.
Yeah, blah, blah, blah. No one cares. Let's down a little bit. Skip down to below the picture of Bumblebee.
Okay.
And then even further down to where it says studios are using diversity and
Okay.
inclusivity to justify reviving all. That's where the article continues. Everything before that's just bullcrap.
Okay, we're gonna skip ahead to that point.
Skip ahead to where it matters.
Studios are using diversity and inclusivity to justify reviving old franchises. It provides an alibi for keeping ongoing brands on proverbial life support and rebooting existing brands. After 40 years of disappointing / underwhelming Superman movies, whose fault is that? Superman 2, the last unmitigated success, opened in June of 1981. Warner Brothers and DC Films are still trying to succeed. Superman Returns and Man of Still trying
It's a copywriter. They should have said where Superman Returns and Man of Steel.
Yeah, okay. I was wondering if that was just me. Yeah,
no, it wasn't just you. They missed a word there.
Proofread your shit, as I always say. Even presuming good intentions and artistic value, there is an apparent cynicism in using the "but this time he's black" hook as a way to defend another go-around preemptively. That's especially since we're dealing with an IP that's arguably closer in terms of awareness versus interest to Robin Hood, Tarzan, and Peter Pan than James Bond and Batman. Ironically, those are the last two are also franchises that have been...
Okay, now hold here. Did he just say that Superman is closer in interest to Robin Hood, Tarzan, and Peter Pan?
Awareness versus interest.
And Batman?
Awareness versus interest. There are people, and so I think he's saying people are aware of Superman, they're just not interested in him.
So he's saying that the interest level for Superman is about the same as Robin Hood, Tarzan, and Peter Pan.
Yes.
And I need to correct him. Both Superman 3 and Superman Returns did just fine in the box office.
Well,
it was Warner Brothers' fault they spent too much money on Superman Lives. That's why Superman Returns didn't see as much as they were hoping for.
Well, yeah, of course, but this doofus, he has a narrative that he wants to get out there. And this narrative is that look at what he's doing here. Just look at this. It's the audience. The audience don't care about Superman. That's what he's saying. Hollywood has done everything right, but the audience hasn't cared since Superman 2 back in 1981.
Which is bullshit, because Superman Returns made almost $400 million.
Of course it's our fault, Andre. We don't understand their brilliance. We're not accepting of anything.
Yeah, no, exactly. We are as interested in Superman as we are in Robin Hood and Peter Pan.
And again, like we've
according to Scott.
Well, okay.
Why does anyone hire this man to keep writing this drivel?
Let's first of all, he's trying to make an excuse for them, saying, "Oh, they're just doing this," which is what we've said for a while. They're just doing this to try and gain some kind of points with a young audience that isn't there or exists. And he's right about that part, right? But the part he's wrong about is, like, people do give a shit about Superman. Superman hasn't had a chance. He hasn't even had a second fucking movie yet.
Take a look at the CW Superman and Lois and Superman and Lois, whatever the hell it is. That's actually doing very well. There is interest in Superman when it's done right.
Well, that's my point. And we've never gotten a Man of Steel 2. We never got a sequel to Superman Returns. So we've never had a situation to actually see how Superman can do in a franchise on his own since the Christopher Reeve films. So that's a very unfair kind of like setup there.
Well, very much so. And before we continue to because we now have 1,300 watching us, which is awesome. For those that came because you see from the title and the description that the Critical Jinker will be joining us, he will. He's just getting good and drunk first, but he'll be here before long. And since you're here, it would be great if you could help us click that like, because in so doing, you help the algorithm know that someone's actually watching this. So please do recommend
Andre,
it.
I'm tapping the screen and nothing's happening with the like button. It's
but that's you. Everyone else knows how to actually do it.
Okay, I boomered it.
But anyway, let's.
Well, he's
let's
also comparing
on.
it to characters that are hundreds of years old.
Hundreds of years old, and also public. I'm going to bring this up. Public domain.
Very
characters.
public domain. Yeah.
I mean, you know how many fucking Robin Hood movies we've gotten over the last? We've gotten like 150 Robin Hood movies. Of course, nobody cares anymore. They've run the character into the ground.
Yeah, pretty much. And then getting back to the article, Rob, you're gonna have to skip forward a little bit because again,
Okay.
he's just like more word salad, bullcrap. No one cares.
Okay,
You wanna
yada,
go
yada, yada.
down- You want to go down to below the picture of Charlie and the woke angels,
Okay.
down to where it says diversity is not a hindrance to get it. We continue from there because that's where the article continues.
Oh boy, am I gonna blow my stack?
Well, we'll see. You may.
Diversity is not a hindrance to getting general audiences in theater for something eagerly anticipated, but inclusivity is not a carrot for something they don't want to see. Audiences flock to Crazy Rich Asians because it was a big, splashy 90s style Hollywood romantic comedy. Force Awakens scored $2 billion global because it was a sequel to Return of the Jedi. Almost. Its new protagonists, Daisy Ridley, John Boyega, and Oscar Isaac, a bonus, which contributed to post-debut legs following to bullshit.
No, it's true. We have 248 million opening and strong word of mouth. This is true.
Yeah,
this
but it's not exclusively because of them, but it was because it was a Star Wars movie.
Yeah, obviously. But here's what
and
what
more so because they were bringing back Han, Luke, and Leia.
Yeah, but his point is that they weren't a deterrent.
Okay.
People didn't stay away from them. That's all he's saying. So this is all. There's nothing to complain about so far. And whatever we may feel about The Force Awakens now, the movie did have strong word of mouth and interest at the time of release.
Biggest movie of all time. So
yeah, exactly. It didn't hold up after the fact, but at the time, like this is all true, good and well. So moving on.
Trying the same trick with Terminator Dark Fate failed because audiences didn't give a damn about another Terminator movie. Consumers either don't care about inclusivity or only care about diversity for film/TV shows they already want to see. No, they don't even care about that, you assholes.
He's missing the point, though.
He's missing the point, though. He's missing.
But he's not wrong about that statement in isolation.
Okay, there is a difference.
Yeah, but there's no context with it, and that is they don't want to see their classic characters changed. That's what they want. Here's the point. This goes right back to what he was saying before. Yeah, when you say, I'm going to show you a Robin Hood movie, the audience has an expectation going into said Robin Hood movie, right?
Yes. Well, the classic, the expectation is to see something along the lines of the classic Errol Flynn Robin Hood.
Or at least, the idea of or a Robin Hood-like story even. Superman's the same kind of thing. When you see Superman, Man of Steel, I'm going to see a Superman movie, you have an expectation going in, right? And that's what I think he's trying to get at there to a point. And when it comes to a Terminator film, you have an expectation going into that.
I want to see Arnold Schwarzenegger mowing people down with a big chain gun.
Exactly.
Probably you don't want to see lots of people want to see that, and then they don't show up regardless.
They make him an interior decorator, though.
Yeah,
you pick the gayest. You pick the gayest occupation possible to deliberately emasculate him.
And I mean, a sexless marriage. Don't forget that.
Okay, there is a difference between Hollywood offering up the. There was a difference between Hollywood offering up the first Static Shock movie or the first Miles Morales movie, Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. I'm going to talk about that in a second. And rehashing an existing IP with but this time he's not a white guy hook. Jason Momoa as Arthur Curry would have made less of an impact had it been the third Aquaman franchise following one's starring offhand Matt Damon in 2000 and there were Aquaman back then, and Channing Tatum in 2007.
He's trying to make a point on something you can't even actually equate because we didn't have an Aquaman franchise before Jason Momoa.
But that's what he's doing. Like, just imagine if that had happened, would have meant as much. So yeah.
Okay, you know what? Okay, maybe Hollywood should expand its casting / filmmaking palette when these franchises were fresh, new, and/or popular. Where was? This is a professional fucking writer.
That's actually like, where was this drive for diversity when audiences would follow Hugh Jackman from X-Men to Swordfish?
Yeah, where was Elijah Kelly's Transformers, the Oded Fair spy franchise, or Javier Bardem's Superman movie during Hollywood's initial round of tentpole mania? Because those guys did not fit the role. Where was this drive for diversity when audiences would follow Hugh Jackman from X-Men to Swordfish? Swordfish. Oh, for God's sake. Scotty, you're an idiot. Hollywood spent decades looking for the next Tom Cruise when they should have been looking for the next Will Smith. They were. And now...
by the way, I have to say, like, I was looking in the wrong place. Rob, you are completely right. They do say where was. So, yeah.
Where was.
Yeah.
This is
AKA proofread your shit.
Scotty, I'm saying this right now. I can do your job, and I can do it better than you, okay?
Yeah, he can.
All of us can. It's like whenever you say, someone usually say that I could do your job better than you, then there's obviously something there that they're probably missing. But in this case, I'm not so sure. I think you could drop.
Spell check is built into every free Office Suite program. What is the fucking problem? It checks your spelling and your grammar. There is no reason for this. Forbes has fired their editorial staff. They fired their spell checkers and everything. That's the real problem here. You're trying to save a few bucks and you look like a bunch of fucking amateurs.
I'm usually pretty patient with people, but I have a feeling if I ever had lunch with Scotty, it would take everything in my power not to punch him in the face. Just saying.
Hollywood spent the next decade looking for the next Tom Cruise when they should have been looking for the next Will Smith. Now they're looking for the next Will Smith now. That's why Michael B. Jordan keeps coming up for everything. And only now, when movie stardom is less valuable than ever, many of these franchises peaked decades ago, is Hollywood doing what it should have done at least 20 years ago. The Terminator franchise went woke after 2 miserable and poorly received sequels, Terminator Salvation and Terminator Genesis.
Did he just say went woke?
Yes.
Wow.
Trying again specifically with a diverse cast was a trap that risked reaffirming conventional wisdom. It set Mackenzie Davis, the new Protector Terminator, Natalia Reyes, the new Target, and Gabriel Luna, the new Hunter Killer Terminator, up for near guaranteed flop for which they would get penalized on a grander scale than their white counterparts. It's not their fault. It's not their fault. It's the wrong timing. Taylor Kitsch can headline John Carter and Battleship in the same quarter of the same year. Armie Hammer can headline The Lone Ranger, which was shit, and The Man from U.N.C.L.E., which is, from what I heard, decent. I didn't see it. Despite those financial disasters, both were considerable bankable names or worthy of, from blockbusters to indies, redemptive narratives.
Okay, stop right there.
I'm about to have an aneurysm.
Okay, this man is a fucking liar. Because what happened right there, like, I can't believe it. So basically, what he's saying is that it's wrong to do this to actors of. I can't believe I'm gonna say this. To actors of color, yeah, exactly. Because it might hurt their career in a way it won't hurt the career of white actors.
You know how I've gotten around saying that? Just say not white.
Yeah, very true. But anyway, and then he goes on to cite 2 examples of white actors who, according to him, did perfectly fine. No, their careers were ruined. Their careers were set back immensely. Both Armie Hammer, because his family is super, super duper freaking wealthy, and they bought him into movies. But they can buy him a few starting roles, then he has to make it on his own. And especially Taylor Kitsch, who was poised to be the next big thing because the agents wanted it. They had set him up with these things, and if that had worked, he would have been a superstar. It didn't, and that was instant door shut on that career. And then, like, he talks about, then they have to go back to the independent path. That's the path of failure. That means you failed. That's the exact same thing that all of these others have to do as well. That's how it works. Like, he's trying to make this into like a race thing that the white people, they can get away with it, but not these actors. Like, is he freaking insane? Those actors' careers Taylor Kitsch never recovered.
Do you think Taylor Kitsch wants to make indie movies that a few 25,000 people around the country are going to see in dumpy little shoebox theaters and make $800,000 total? Seriously, that's not a career trajectory you want. The next step for him is making industrial safety films.
Somebody has their phone on vibrate right by the microphone. I don't know if it's you or if it's Andre.
Yeah, no, mine is on. Mine is very, very muted. So that shouldn't.
You know
be,
what? You know what?
an
Actually,
issue.
there was an article I read a few years ago. Hollywood hasn't done right by Idris Elba, saying that it's not Idris Elba's fault that he's not a big mainstream star. Yeah, it kind of fucking is, because he could have said no to a lot of the shit he did.
Well, I don't think that he could, because honestly, like, to be fair though, like, it's the agents, they decide a lot of that stuff. It's like the same thing with Taylor Kitsch and the stuff that he was in. He couldn't say no to Battleship if he wanted to. The agents were going to be like, okay, we're going to make you a star. You're going to do this, you're going to do this, and you're going to do this. And if it works, then fantastic. And if it doesn't, then that's on you. And to anyone wondering, like Euthanasia 138 has come in recently and wondering, where is the drinker? The drinker is getting good and drunk, and he'll be with us shortly.
And I could really go for a hot dog. Okay, we're almost done here.
Yeah.
Man from Uncle Yada Yada. Talent, charisma, and apparent decency notwithstanding, Chris Hemsworth has been bombing in not Thor movies for a decade. In the Heart of the Sea, The Huntsman, Winter's War, Black Hat, Men in Black International, yet continues to get new franchises to squander. Will John Boyega get another shot?
Again, stop right there. These aren't franchise movies. All of these things here, apart from like Men in Black International, which was an attempt of like something I was going to get a sequel.
That was a rights grab.
Things were original movies. Yeah, and Huntsman Winter's War, yeah, that was like wannabe franchise, though not quite and not really. Heart of the Sea was original. So same was Black Hat. So again, he's really trying to force his narrative here with some very sketchy arguments.
We call that reaching.
Yes, reaching pretty badly here.
Yeah, you know. Okay, now correct me if I'm wrong.
Don't forget about Ghostbusters.
Oh yeah, let's not forget about Ghostbusters. Yeah, but correct me if I'm wrong, gentlemen. Didn't Marvel own the rights to? Weren't they going to get the rights to Men in Black if there wasn't a movie? Because when they were with Eternity Comics, yeah. Because I remember Men in Black was a dinky little black and white comic with Eternity
Malibu Comics, I believe it was.
Malibu Graphics, yeah. I used to buy Robotech comics when they had the license for Robotech, and there were ads for Men in Black. Anyway, moving on.
Well, I think the other part of it is Marvel ended up buying them, so it'll end up going back to Marvel, I think.
Will Justice Smith and Regé Jean Page get downgraded? He's not a star. That douchebag from what Bridgerton or whatever the fuck it is. He's not a star yet. Why are you bringing his name into it? Why the fuck? Nobody knows who the fuck that guy is, Scotty.
Yeah, well, anyway, yeah, exactly. No one knows. Nobody cares. Moving on.
Nobody cares. If Hollywood has little choice but to rehash once successful cinematic franchises because star power means nothing, at least these clearly talented actors and filmmakers are getting a bite at the apple. After all, it was an overemphasis on globally viable action fantasy franchises starring young white guys as the special, which the likes of My Family, Anaconda, The Best Man, Waiting to Exile, and Rush Hour became endangered species. Rush Hour star Jackie Chan, you idiot. Nonetheless, it is almost cruel to wait until these properties are used up before now trying to offer a more inclusive cast. You're reaching, man. An entire generation of non-white filmmakers is potentially being set up to fail because they are being tasked with fronting franchises, audiences about which audiences, what? No longer. I give up.
Okay, I know what. Okay, here's what Scotty's doing. He's making an excuse.
He's making preemptive excuse. He's justifying their failure.
Yes.
Yeah.
He's exactly, Rob.
He's preemptively excusing their failure by saying audiences don't care. So, but it's not their fault that no. If they make a shit movie, if Ta-Nehisi Coates makes a shit movie out of Superman, then you know what? Say it's a shit movie. If J.J. Abrams is your quote unquote white guy, he's made shit movies. Okay, look at The Rise of Skywalker. Look at Star Trek Into Darkness. Okay, this is not about race, Scotty. This is not about race. This is about quality.
Exactly. No, and that's what Scotty's doing, is making an excuse for them. because he know this is his job. This is Scotty's job. You're looking at Scotty's job.
Excuse maker.
Exactly. Because what have we been saying all this time? We've been saying if all you're going to do is hire somebody on their diversity or their sex, then all you're going to do is set them up for failure. We've been beating that drum for 2 years now because it's fucking true.
Breathe.
And with that, I think that is the moment that is perfect to introduce our guest for today, the one, the only, Critical Drinker. Welcome back to Midnight's Edge, sir. How are you?
I am excellent. Thank you, sir. How are you getting on?
Oh, we're getting on here.
Excellent.
We're talking about Scotty Mendelson's piss poor take as usual. But as you may know of Scotty, he's kind of the Hollywood shill and mouthpiece for their excuses. And basically, we're breaking down this new article that bounces off the latest news about the new Black Superman.
Yeah, we just finished that article, and I can give you the summary. Scott Mendelson is saying that the Black Superman and the Black Red Sonja are gonna fail, and Hollywood need to start making new and exciting properties woke instead of old things that no one cares about anymore. That's basically the gist of it. But the funny thing is that he is already describing then Black Superman, and by implication Black Red Sonja, as doomed. And we're gonna get into that. But first, Drinker, how are you?
I'm great, thanks, Andre. I was doing a stream last night. It was good fun. I've received my copy of Resident Evil 8, so I'm excited to play that. So I'm going to be streaming myself. Probably playing embarrassingly badly later on tonight, so it's all good, man. Oh, and I'm currently working on a fix for Game of Thrones. The Drinker's going to try and fix it and try and transform season 8 into something halfway decent.
That should be interesting.
That'll be fun. I was saying before, Drinker, that I wrote a sketch years ago about Daniel Day-Lewis. Britain/Ireland's greatest actor is America's greatest president. I'm wondering how you'd sound reading the Gettysburg Address now. Because you'd be perfect.
406 years ago.
Exactly. Yes, I found my Lincoln.
Well, did you see what I wrote in the chat about what you should really wrap that whole thing around? I thought that was pretty good. But anyway.
Okay, so now that the Drinker is here, we've gone through the article with Scott Mendelson. Let's now break down everything there is to say about Black Superman and Black Red Sonja. But first, we're going to go through a couple of more of the classic super chats.
We do have one. Oh, I was going to say, we do have one now that we can grab that has
grab that
Fighter
one.
Unlimited says, Drinker, halfway through Something to Die For. Amazing read. Anyone interested in great reads, definitely check out the Ryan Drake series. Each book is better than the last, cinematic and exciting. This Lagavulin is for you. Yeah. Lagavulin is for you, sir. There you go.
Oh, thank you very much. It's good to know people are enjoying my books.
Yeah, so check out Critical Drinker's book series if you haven't already. And Hyperguyver says Rob needs to be casted as J. Jonah Jameson now. Spider-Man's a menace.
And so is Scotty Mendelson.
He is indeed. All right, so let's get back to the classic super chats.
Yes, the classic super chats.
You can bring it on screen real quick anyway.
Yeah, Roger H sent us a thumbs up super sticker, and John Apocalypse wonders how many seasons of Smallville were there? Was it like 11
10.
or something?
10.
Okay, yeah. And Joachim Stark says for 50 Swedish krona, let them destroy themselves so the rights can go to a studio. Who cares? Hopefully in reference to Red Sonja there. And the problem is that they're going to get paid no matter what, the rights holders, even if the movie tanks. London Fog 66 says, I appreciate y'all keeping me entertained at work. Oh, well, that's what we try to do.
Well, we try to do.
Yeah. And Somos US says, studios justify wokeness like this as creating a safe space for their fans. No, they only do it to keep themselves safe from criticism. Scumbags.
That's another point that a lot of this is about. You know, that it's all about the virtue signaling. What was the one? I can't remember the name of the agency, but they just got caught pretending that they had a bunch more black agents than they really did.
Oh, for God's sake.
Because they made some video or whatever, and they got caught hiring like actors or some shit.
You can't make this stuff up. You really can. I mean,
this is why they think everybody's fucking racist, because they are.
Yeah,
that's the point.
Yeah, of course, when you judge the world from yourself, then of course you're going to have Hollywood thinking the world is a pretty racist place because they judge the world based on their own standards. And so we all know what Kamran Pasha has to say about the white liberals of Hollywood.
Yeah, if anybody remembers the actual name of the agency, please tell. No, not like the CIA. It was a casting agency. That was a good answer, though. No, it was a Hollywood casting agency. I can't remember exactly which one it was, but this came out late last night.
And then Freakadelic says, Soups in 06 film looked too young to play 30-something. S was tiny, boots wide, like kid shoes, all giving a juvenile look. With what we now know about Singer, think his inputs there were willful or less so? Honestly, I think it was less so, because if you look, the real problem there wasn't Superman, it was Lois Lane.
In which one?
And Superman Returns.
Well,
the
yeah,
one.
that and Superman didn't punch anything besides the ground.
Yeah, he punched a rock, didn't he?
Yeah. Well, and here's the sad part about Superman Returns is I feel like we didn't get nobody involved in that really got a chance to show what they wanted to do, because Superman Returns was reestablishing the world, and there was more stuff set up there than we got to really get paid off.
Yeah, and it's a shame. I think Brandon Routh actually looked pretty good. You know, he had a real resemblance to Christopher Reeve, and he definitely had that kind of optimistic, you know, Boy Scout kind of look that you would expect from Superman. But I just think times had changed by that point. The costume looked really dated, and it was just
besides right. Lois, that was one of my other least favorite bits. Was the costume.
It was the wrong movie at the wrong time. Really as simple as that.
Yeah. Brian Barth wants to know what we think of Superman 3 and 4. I enjoy Superman 3. Superman 4.
There can't be many people on this earth that enjoyed Superman 4.
I understand part of the movie that Christopher Reeve and gang wanted to make, but Canon behind that one?
No, it was. Yeah, it was canon. It was Golden Globus, wasn't it?
Yeah, and they really, because they funneled a bunch of money out of it. So there is an alternate version of that movie because there's a shit ton of deleted scenes on the Blu-ray and DVD. But that from what I've heard, that movie was only half of what they meant for it to be. But it was doomed from the start, because there's one rule in comics, and that is you never have Superman doing something like that. You know, you can have him punch certain people with mustaches on the cover, but you don't have him solving the entire world war, because somebody like Superman could take care of that in a few minutes. That's another reason why you never have him take out like nuclear war, because it's one of those things that it's too easy for him to do. And in a world where it still exists, it's kind of a touchy subject, you know, because that was just kind of those unwritten rules in comics. I don't know why anybody didn't step in and tell Christopher Reeve that was a bad idea to begin with, but
well, he was Superman. But anyway, as for me, I have very fun childhood memories of Superman 3. I don't know that I ever saw the fourth one, but I like Superman 3. I really do. I think it was fun.
I always find it really freaky, like Superman 3. You know, they fight a giant computer at the end, and one of the baddies gets sucked into it, and it turns her into like a killbot.
That was so scary when I was.
That shit was freaky, man.
That was one of the highlights of that whole movie. I love that movie.
Yeah,
it was a really, really cool. But yeah, all right. On that note, let us get into Superman. Let's begin there, and we'll get into Black Red Sonja afterwards. That's the real doozy that I want to get into. But let's begin with Black Superman. Tom, do you have the article? If not, I can link to it.
No, I've got this one, so I didn't have
the Hollywood Reporter one. Yeah.
No, I don't have that one. So if you got the link, go for it.
Yeah, I'll put the link in the private chat here as soon as I get into the right window. It's like so fun with all the stuff behind the scenes here. So yeah, now if you check the private chat, there's the link to where it was announced. And what it says in this article is, it's basically, this is Heat Vision, which is like the genre entertainment blog of the Hollywood Reporter. And here it says, and here's some new cool information, or actually, well, rather, there's some new information. There's nothing cool about it. Behind Warner Brothers' search for a Black Superman. And then it says, after enlisting Ta-Nehisi Coates to write the latest feature on the superhero, the studio is searching for its director and star as it kickstarts the next phase of its DC universe. And we have plenty to say about it. Actually, we've had loads to say about it already, and we have even more to say about that. What I will say is abandon all hope. And then basically then the article goes on, and they basically say that they're looking for an unknown black star and a little bit more named black director. J.J. Abrams will be producing, but he will not be directing, because him at the helm would have been tone deaf. They use that as an actual quote in here, implication being he is white, so he can't direct a movie about a black star. And then it is also revealed that this won't be Calvin Ellis. The script that Ta-Nehisi Coates is writing is about a black Kal-El. So it's our canon Superman that is going to be reimagined as black. Not a different Superman altogether, but Kal-El, Clark Kent, is the one that will be made black. The script is due to be delivered in December, so there's still a lot of work that's going to go into it. And there not a lot is known about it, but it is mentioned that it may take place in the 20th century. So basically, sometime between the year 1901 and 1999. You know,
I'm going to take a wild guess and say that it's going to be set in the Deep South in probably the 1950s.
Yeah, I was about to say that, or the
60s
during civil
in
rights.
The 60s, yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a very, very good guess, because what do we know about Ta-Nehisi Coates? Well, he is a journalist, and I use the term lightly, but he's a journalist, and one that is exclusively devoted to critical race theory and race issues, and his opinion on white people. Let's just say that if all the stuff that he had said about white people, if a white person had been saying them about black people, that white person would not only have been cancelled many times over, he'd probably be in jail.
He's the type of journalist I like to pronounce with the soft J, or however you put it, with a urinalist. Because, you know, here in the U.S. we have urinals.
I get
which is where you take a piss.
Urinal, as you would say.
Yeah.
You guys are lording it up over there. We just have a fucking hole in the ground in Scotland. My favorite one is
you
like
gotta keep worrying about snakes coming out and shit, right?
Yeah. Well, usually what you get in Scotland, right, is this big long trough that everyone pees into, and so you can just see the other guy's piss just floating past you as you're going at it. It's glorious. It really is. Nothing like sharing.
The pee trough, yeah.
Yeah, you can find those in old stadiums and stuff still once in a while.
Yeah.
Sam Kinison does a bit about the pee trough, actually, in Vegas, in the old days in Vegas when they used to, it wasn't built up like it is now.
Right.
But yeah. What do you say, even money, though? I mean, there's going to, knowing Ta-Nehisi Coates, there's going to be a scene where Black Superman has to save somebody. Oh no, I can't be saved by a black man.
You know what this is going to be? This is just going to be what we got in Falcon and the Winter Soldier times 100.
Well, I'm going to throw this out there. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
And I guarantee, right, the critics are going to go wild over it, and they'll give it 11 out of 10 across the board. The fans are probably going to hate it, and the general public is just going to stay away from it, and they're not going to be interested.
And Lex Luthor is going to be a skinhead, right?
Oh, 100%.
Evil white man Lex Luthor.
I just have to say, like, I'm not a fan of this kind of thing in the slightest. Like, you know, you've got characters, you've got like Black Panther. You know, you can argue the merits of the actual movie, but that is a character which was written as black, and he is black, and it was fine. It worked perfectly well as that. When you just try to race swap existing characters that have been established, especially like Superman, a guy who's been around since the 1930s, and every single time he's been depicted as white, then you just change him to black just because. That is not a good justification for doing something like this. Like, that is not how the character is written. It's not the way he's meant to be.
Especially when you have a ready-to-go alternative in Calvin Ellis, as many have pointed out, because when these news of J.J. Abrams' Black Superman was first reported, the first thing people went to was, it's not going to be Kal-El, it's not going to be Clark Kent, it's going to be Calvin Ellis, who's a black character to begin with. And then the response was more like, well, we'd rather have Henry Cavill, but if it's a completely different character, then yeah, sure, why not? But now when we learned that, nope, it's going to be Clark Kent. And this, incidentally, was also dropped on Henry Cavill's birthday. So that's a nice
this is clearly...
Let him know that he's fired.
It's a gigantic middle finger to him. And to,
it's a big pink slip, yeah.
And honestly, I can't think of a guy who's been done a greater disservice in all of this than Henry Cavill. Like, this guy has busted his ass in every Superman movie or any appearance that he's made. He has tried his absolute best, even when he's been given garbage material to work with. And they wouldn't even give him another crack at a solo movie. And it just sucks, man. Like, he has been
nobody
so
wanted to
screwed.
be in a solo movie. Oh, you mean a solo Superman movie? Never mind.
Yeah.
I thought you meant Han Solo.
No, not the solo movie.
It was a joke.
No, Man of Steel 2. Do you know
it was a joke.
It was a joke. That Zack Snyder wanted to make before Warner went in and made him do Batman v Superman. But that wasn't part of the plan until it was mandated by higher up.
I tell you, man, we need to get restore the Snyderverse trending again.
Oh, let's not get on that. We got more Snyder news maybe later. But
right.
But the whole like justification, I hear a lot of younger people, and a lot of people jump on this woke train. They always say, "Oh, these are fictional characters. You could do whatever you want with them." I'm like, no, not only to a point. Then you have to consider about what the ramifications of what you're doing. As we've said, you know, a Superman in small southern town in America in the 1950s is going to have a whole host of other problems than he would in a big city in the 1950s, which is already integrated in dealing with other things. I mean, and then at what point does it stop being Superman?
Well, and that's always my...
Yeah, I mean, this is just going to end up, like, there will be such a storm of politics around this movie. It'll be almost impossible to even assess it, like, on any kind of artistic level, because it is just, it's just going to be like the next divisive thing that everyone wants to fight over.
And and they're going to blame us invariably, not us as in us personally, but they're going to blame the fandom and the audience.
Well, that's what Scotty's article was setting up.
Yeah.
I'm sure that some people are going to blame Midnight's Edge and the Critical Drinker too. Just you wait. There's going to be
all of us.
Name Doomcock and name the rest of us. Don't you worry.
Well,
that's happened before, and it'll happen again.
And I've made
toxic
this point before.
Toxic racism, toxic fandom.
And I've made this point before where Rob and I have talked about this on Mead and in other places, is like, look, I don't have an issue so much with race swapping out a character, especially like, okay, let's look at Superman. Let's step back and look at him. He's an alien, right? He's adopted. These two things are always well known. So you could have Superman be just about any race and it doesn't really matter as long as he's raised by the Kents, right? As long as he still has that Smallville background It doesn't really matter. The problem is, though, once you introduce that element, it adds way too much to the mix that you have to basically eventually touch upon. And that's where I get where Michael B. Jordan's coming from. Is like, I don't want nobody's sloppy seconds. Give me something new. Give me something fresh. Give me something different. Because in most cases, you really can't swap out the character without it changing inherently who the character is. And that's where I personally have a problem with it. Like I've said before, you can make Batman black, fine. Just as long as his parents are rich and he has a Batmobile and he, has batarangs and all that kind of shit. As long as you don't change nothing, cool. But, Rob will make the point. Like, the Waynes have a long history in the city and going back to England and all this kind of shit. And, Superman, we've already had a non-white Superman. Guess what? Dean Cain is part Japanese. Nobody cared. But that's the problem is Hollywood can't do that now. They used to be able to do that kind of shit. But even look at the subtle changes they made to if you've seen it, I've seen like the first season of Supergirl. I haven't seen since, but they changed Jimmy Olsen to a black guy. For the most part, it doesn't really matter. But what they did do is they made the character cooler, smoother. All these other things that Jimmy Olsen never
was also ginger.
Yeah, exactly. And that's my point. All these things that Jimmy Olsen never was. And this will be one that Rob loves. And this is another reason why I fucking cannot stand Miles Morales. Because he's just Peter Parker with a bunch of stereotypes slapped onto him. And that's all these characters usually are, is take old character, slap a bunch of stereotypes on him. Here you go. And that's what we're going to get. We're going to get super stereotype man. And if you're going to do that, I'd just soon see a blaxploitation movie from the 70s. If you're going to do that, go full on fucking, if you're going to do it. Don't do this half-ass bullshit. That's where I'm at.
Superman Jones. Superman Jones.
Yeah, exactly. Talking pimp hat, sequins cape, fucking cowboy boots with fucking studs, the whole 9 yards, a cane, everything.
You were saying...
Yeah, I generally fall into the camp of stay faithful to the source material as much as you can. For that reason, like that's why I wouldn't want to have a man play Black Widow or a white guy play Blade or anything or Black Panther. All of these things. I think you've gotten these characters established, and they were originally written a certain way to be a certain race or whatever. And I think you should probably respect that. And like I think Michael B. Jordan said. Instead of just race swapping existing characters and giving people like sloppy seconds, create new interesting characters for people of different races to play. You can do that. But when you try and awkwardly port them onto like a different race with all the baggage that comes with that nowadays, you are setting yourself up to fail. It just doesn't work like that.
Absolutely.
Excuse me.
No, that's kind of the point I'm getting at, because there's tons of characters that have never been utilized. We just finally got a Black Panther movie a few years ago. Luke Cage was finally on television a few years ago. Quentin Tarantino wanted to make a Luke Cage movie years ago. Like, there are characters that have never been utilized. Spawn and Blade, when they came out, I don't remember anybody going to those movies and go, God, those were great superhero movies because they were black.
Yeah. You just looked at Blade and it's like, man, he's cool.
No,
like,
because it's Wesley Snipes kicking ass. Yeah.
yeah, and that was it. And there wasn't a big deal made out of the fact that he was a black character played by a black actor. That's just what he was. But now when you swap something specifically for the reason of, well, we wanted more diversity, that's not a good artistic reason for doing stuff like this, I'm afraid. Not for me.
Yeah. Drinker, what did you think of did you see Into the Spider-Verse?
Yes.
What did you think of it?
I mean, it was a great story. I loved all the different Spider-Man and stuff. Like, I don't really get the point of Miles Morales like as a character.
Well, I've heard people say that Miles Morales is eventually going to replace Peter Parker because, quote unquote, he's problematic, and that's the direction they're leaning into. But I always point out that he goes, Miles Morales is not nearly as profitable a character as Peter Parker. In that you go into any Walmart in America, any Target in America, even just online, the sheer amount of Spider-Man shit that's available, merchandise, whether it's like bubble bath or Band-Aids or T-shirts or pajamas, it's all Peter Parker Spider-Man.
Yes.
Yeah,
and those two things are just inextricably linked, and this ties into my original point about how you respect the source material. And I hate this thing, and I know comic books do it from time to time because, like, you know, characters age out or whatever it might be. But this idea that like an entirely different character can take up the mantle of whatever superhero and just become that person, you know, it doesn't work like that. You can't separate them out in your head that way. That's why I would never see Falcon as Captain America now. He'll always be Falcon with Captain America's shield. You know what I mean? Like, they're still separate characters.
Exactly. Yeah.
And I hate that idea of like, oh, well, a different person is playing him now, so this is just who it is. Like, nah, it doesn't really work for me, I'm afraid.
Well, and you can like the Spider-Verse just fine. I mean, Rob and I are like the only two guys on the internet who didn't. And I think that's just because we didn't get, I don't know, maybe bamboozled by it. I don't know. Maybe we're just assholes. I don't know. Fuck. But like our thing was we saw it for what it was. And that was, even though he does get a chance to kind of redeem himself at the end, unlike Luke Skywalker, they really did Luke Skywalker, Peter Parker.
Yeah, like now he's a kind of fat, schlubby.
He's a fat schlub who can't keep a fucking marriage straight, and yeah, I mean,
yeah, that's a shitty thing to do to him.
And I actually, what I did in my review Into the Spider-Verse, a lot of people got really pissed off about this, and it circulated on Reddit. And those people who circulated on Reddit, I say, fuck you. I stand by my review.
Star.
you gave me more exposure than I could ever hope for. So ha 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 ha. So anyway, well, what I did was there's a scene where he's eating the burger in the diner, and I put the scene where Luke is drinking the titty milk side by side, and I said, "This is not a coincidence. Those are done." Yes, but that was done on purpose to say, "Look, your hero is old. He's fat. He's human. He's fallible. He's not who you think he is. We have a new shiny hero for you to love. Oh, love him. Won't you love him? No, fuck you. I know what you're doing. You're tearing one down to build up another." Yeah. And you know what? And I'm calling it out for what I see it.
No, quite right, man. It's the cheapest of cheap writing tricks.
No, like I said, I mean,
new character.
I get it. A lot of people liked that movie, and I'm not going to fault them for that. But
Mecha J brought it up in the chat. He goes, he said, "I wonder how the Miles Morales Spider-Man game sold for on PlayStation. They're touting. I found, Miles Morales outselling the biggest PlayStation exclusive. The Miles Morales game sold 4.1 million copies. You know, guess how much that's worldwide. Guess how much the Peter Parker game sold?
40 million.
Well, 20 million as of November 2020.
That's not bad.
It's not bad, but it sold five and a half times as many. Yeah. But like, so don't give me this whole thing about people don't want Peter Parker anymore. People don't want Clark Kent anymore. They do. Give us good shit. That's all we're asking. This whole throwing up your hands. Well, you know, we tried with the white guy. It doesn't work.
There's a reason characters like that have endured for all these decades. You know, Clark Kent, Superman, you know, Peter Parker, Bruce Wayne. They're incredible classic archetypes of characters, and they have stood the test of time because they just nailed it with how these guys were created. And so you try and replace them with something new today. It just comes across as a cheap carbon copy, and people just don't fucking want it. It doesn't matter how hard you try to push it. It doesn't matter like how much you try to break the old characters down. People don't want it.
Well, it's so much. I mean, even the Superman and Lois TV series gets a fundamental thing about Superman right. I'm like, yeah, he's they show him, portray him as a family man, but he can't be there for everybody, even though he's Superman. And that's probably, besides kryptonite, that's his biggest weakness. He can't save everybody. But it's this whole idea of, well, we have to humble him. We have to humiliate him. Superman is already humble. That's the thing. The best scene I could think of is the little girl getting the cat out of the tree scene in the first one, the Christopher Reeve thing. Yeah, he does all this great stuff, but you know what? He's not above helping a little girl get a cat out of a tree. That's the whole thing. That humanizes him, and that's what they're missing. These characters, yeah, they're gods on earth, but you know what? There's a human element to them that people invariably get wrong. and trying to say, oh yeah, well, we have to degrade the character to make him human. No. You just don't know how to make a character human. It's bad writing. You have to degrade a character to make them human. I hope I made sense there.
Yeah, no, I think you got your point across fine. But to get back into this particular movie and the writer Ta-Nehisi Coates, Enoch Mammon sent us for $50.
Yes.
Thank you so much. We really, really appreciate that. That's going to go a long way towards covering this month's electricity bill. And he says, since Coates made Jordan Peterson into Red Skull, I assume he's going to make Brainiac into Ben Shapiro. Tom, do a Ben Shapiro because I can't, or Rob.
Rob could probably do a better Ben Shapiro.
I'm very offended that they're making Brainiac into Ben Shapiro.
Yeah, but there's a quote is on screen.
Since Coates made Jordan Peterson the Red Skull, I assume he's going to make Brainiac into Ben Shapiro. I will conquer your primitive planet. But a first message from Sherry Berries.
I can't get my voice to go high enough for Ben Shapiro.
That's
my problem.
I certainly can't. You'd have to speed me up.
Okay, I'll give it a shot here.
I will conquer your primitive planet, but first, a message from Sherry's Berries.
That's the best I could do.
That's almost like Cecil reading that.
Hello, I will conquer your primitive planet, but first, I need to get drunk.
There's Superman versus Cecil. There you go. There's your next movie.
Yeah, we need to get Troll of the Dungeon back. He sounded like Ben Shapiro anyway. But yeah, Drinker, your thoughts on that? That's actually a very astute observation because surely you got you heard what Ta-Nehisi Coates did on his run in what is it, Captain America that he's writing right now, where he basically turned Red Skull into Jordan Peterson, a man whose horrific, toxic message is basically saying, get up in the morning and work at doing something with your life.
I know. It's like
horrible stuff.
Teaching people horrific skills like taking personal responsibility and, working hard and having determination and resilience. How dare he? Those are toxic traits. Yeah, it's just, isn't it really interesting that those are the people that get demonized now? People that teach guys to be guys and to take responsibility for themselves and not take any shit. It's like, we can't have that. Those are the kinds of people we need to slap down. It is really strange, this mindset that we have nowadays. And if that's
not
the kind
only slap down, it gets worse, but paint them as someone that misguides young people who are lost and confused, and then they are attracted by this insidious, toxic mindset. Courtesy of the Red Skull. How amazing is that?
And yeah, exactly. So if this is his attitudes towards someone benign like Jordan Peterson, just imagine what he's going to do when he has control of a Superman script with a black Superman. Imagine the amount of politics that he's going to cram into it, the amount of identity politics, the amount of tirades he's going to go on, and imagine how he's going to react when people criticize the film. That's going to be the interesting thing, because he's going to lash out at fans just like our good friend Ryan Johnson did.
He'll play the race card. Definitely.
Honestly, you know what? I hope they're going to go all out. I mean, if you have him writing it, then I hope that he just holds nothing back and he goes all the way. Because what I say is if it's going to fail, if you're going to do bad, then you might as well go all the way and make it so completely over the top ridiculous that it gets memorable just for that. I mean, that's one thing that I will always appreciate with Paul Feig's Ghostbusters. It didn't go half-assed. I mean, it went all the way, didn't it? And same with
as they say in Tropic Thunder, never go full.
Well, we have that saying. We have a saying in America. You probably heard this, Drinker. We have a saying: "Go big or go home."
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's it.
and that's kind of like, because all like we have a video soon, because last week we're just a little bit behind the schedule. We actually spoke with Mikey Sutton, and he could tell us some details of what's going on behind the scenes of DC and their plans going forward, what they intend to do instead of, like that whole Injustice arc that was like teased in the Nightmare sequence in the Snyder Cut and everything, what they want to do instead of that. And that is truly nightmare inducing. And this thing here, Ta-Nehisi Coates' Black Superman movie with a race-bent Clark Kent, falls right into it. So
I tell you,
I would
man,
actually welcome them going all the way. Yeah, carry on, Drinker.
Yeah, Michael B. Jordan is a smart guy. Like, he clearly saw what this movie was going to become, and he saw like the kind of toxic environment that was going to grow up around it, and he quite wisely must have said, "Nah, I want none of this." I mean, I don't doubt that he's also telling the truth about not wanting to just like race swap a character and get like a cheap kind of imitation. But I think as well, he realizes how much trouble this movie's going to get into, and he just does not want to be part of that. And I don't blame him in the slightest.
Well, it's the same thing with Idris Elba and James Bond. He didn't want any part of that either, which for the same reasons. He goes, I don't want to be known as the Black Bond.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, well, want a little bit more than that, but
No, well, I mean, who wants to be that guy, though, really? I mean, that's what...
Well, Daniel Craig certainly doesn't want to be him, since he's so fucking miserable all the time. But yeah, like, we can guarantee like the next Bond is going to flop because it's been so freaking long in the works. Nobody's interested anymore. And then you kind of have to ask yourself, well, who the hell's going to want to take over this role? Because it seems like a pretty much a lost franchise right now.
Well, they're going to have to go dormant for a few years, is what they're going to have to do. This is going to be the era between License to Kill and GoldenEye. I mean, that's
all the difference is that License to Kill wasn't half bad.
No,
yeah, they were held up because there was licensing problems. I think that was why they didn't get a third Dalton movie out there. But like, yeah, I get what you mean. Like, they needed that break, I think, just to reset and like bring Bond into a different era. And I think maybe they need that again. I don't know how a character like Bond can even exist now. When you think about, you look back to like the Connery and the Roger Moore era of Bond, and the kind of character that he is, the womanizer, the dominant alpha male. You can't have characters like that in modern cinema. It's not allowed. Well, people want it, but like Hollywood isn't allowed to make it. So I don't know what the hell they would turn him into.
Drinker, I've often said, and I've actually saw things written about this that said the same exact thing, which backed me up. James Bond's biggest problem isn't toxic masculinity. It's not misogyny. It's not whatever. It's not the drinking. It's Austin Powers. Ever since Austin Powers, directors have been afraid of showing the classic James Bond tropes because they don't want them to look stupid. And I keep saying, if I was going to make a James Bond movie, I'd embrace every bit of it. There'd be more drinking and gambling and smoking and casual sex and over-the-top action with ski chases, jumping off a cliff with a big Union Jack parachute, and it'd be hailed as the greatest Bond movie ever or a cinematic atrocity. There'd be no in between. So
they were almost on the right track with Casino Royale. That was where they had, Bond was hard drinking, he could kick ass, he was a great fighter, he had the physicality. At that point, Daniel Craig still looked like he actually cared. And you thought, cool, this is like a rough and ready sort of Bond. I quite like what they're doing with this. But then, yeah, he lost his spark. He lost all the fun elements that used to make Bond so interesting. And he just became a bland, generic Jason Bourne knockoff.
Yeah.
That's not going to be a problem now, because now we're going to get Phoebe Waller-Bridges James Bond.
Drinker, you know what moment in Casino Royale really sold me on Daniel Craig initially? When they're playing cards in Jamaica. Yeah. And the guy puts the key to the Aston Martin on the table. He goes, this is parked outside. And he's, oh, no, we have a limit. And Daniel Craig is sitting back, says, no, give him a chance to win his money back. And it was that moment that I'm like, yeah, okay, I got it. Because he was just so confident in the way he said that. He goes, I know I got this guy beat. Let him lose his shirt anyway. So, But that was the moment, like, yeah, okay, this guy's got it. And then it just all went to shit afterwards in Quantum of Solace.
Yeah. Yeah, it just... They completely lost their way with it, and yeah, when I think about Phoebe Waller-Bridge being brought in to modernize the dialogue, like, you know exactly what's going to happen now. Bond is just going to get outpaced and outthought and humiliated by the women around him. They're going to be smarter and stronger and better than him, and he's going to be a bit player in his own movie.
Well, they even have it in the trailer where she tells him to know his role and
I know, and I used this as an example when I talked about this in my video, right? The old Bond would have had some amazing comeback for her. He would have just put her in her fucking place and been like, no, I am a fucking veteran agent. I am James Bond. You absolutely don't talk to me like that. Well, and he would have come back with some cutting remark. But this guy, this plank of wood, just stands there like a total asshole, and he's got nothing to say.
Well,
he's just outthought.
Well, when you've saved the world repeatedly, time and time again, then maybe I shall, or something like that.
He could have had anything, yeah. It would just been some really witty, cutting remark. Like the Connery version of Bond would have had something to throw back at her, but now he's not allowed to. He has to just take it like an absolute pussy. And it's like, that's not Bond. That is not the essence of what James Bond is meant to be. And that's why people don't give a shit about these movies anymore.
Yeah, that's a very, very good point right there. But to transition away from the Black Superman and gradually into Red Sonja, one thing that they're talking about here is how they're planning to set up that this movie is going to... I'll say this one more time. One point in this article that we've just been discussing is that this is a part of the next stage of the DC universe, because you all know that the powers that be in DC, they are desperate, absolutely desperate to move on from the Snyderverse and move into their future safe and secure and diverse direction where everyone can feel safe and welcome. And on that note, we also have the Ayer cut that is trending.
Before you jump to the Ayer cut, I think I want to just point out that a lot of things that were missed in recent articles. Some people have pointed it out, but I'm curious if this new Superman is going to be in the same universe as Pattinson's Batman, which is now, I guess, evidently in the same universe as Joaquin Phoenix's Joker.
Oh, for Christ's sake.
They don't... if I was trying to plot this out, it would be like one of those conspiracy theory boards where you've got like pictures everywhere and like string trying to join everything up. It would just be an absolute mess. The DCEU is just screwed. Because they have gone in so many different directions at the same time. They don't even know what they're doing anymore.
Yeah, on that note, and this is actually something that we heard from Mikey Sutton a year ago, is that they want to connect absolutely everything.
Yep.
And the producers behind the Joker movie, they want that to be completely standalone. And also Matt Reeves, he wants his Batman movie to be completely standalone. However, the powers that be, they want to connect them, and more specifically, I don't know about like this Clark Kent.
Yeah, I don't know.
Wouldn't surprise me, but or actually that would surprise me because J.J. Abrams wants to do his own thing. But anyway,
they're going to do the multiverse, aren't they?
Yeah, they are. But the powers that be at Warner, they were desperate to try to connect the Joker-verse with the Robert Pattinson Batman verse to make these two the same universe. And this article right here, this is a good point, Tom, towards the end here, they actually say that is the case. They say that the Joker and its sequels, the unannounced sequels, take place in the same continuity as Robert Pattinson's Batman. Tom, you want to read that segment where it says that?
I got it highlighted right here. It says DC sees its upcoming Flash movie, which began production, in April in London, as its way forward in this post-Snyder world. with the inclusion of such characters as Supergirl, Sasha Calle, and Michael Keaton's Batman, one thing Flash does, it set it up with a DC multiverse that allows for many of these incarnations and story universes to coexist and have superheroes interact. So far, every movie and TV show, with the exception of Matt Reeves' The Batman, starring Robert Pattinson and set for release in March, HBO Max's spin-off Gotham PD, and Joker and its planned sequel, it will take place in the same universe.
And that would then be Earth 2, because that is what we've heard before, that the Robert Pattinson Batman, he's in Earth 1, in Earth 2, whereas everything we've seen so far, that's Earth 1. So Robert Pattinson is on Earth 2, and now it appears that the Joker has retroactively been placed into Earth 2 as well. Drinker, your thoughts on that? How excited are you for Robert Pattinson's Batman now when it seemingly connects with the Joker?
Oh, I can't wait, Andre. I am thrilled. This is my excited face.
I can't wait to see the post-Drinker video about this.
Oh, man. I mean, honestly, like, I get that in the comics, like, you've got the multiverses and stuff, and you've got Earth 1 and Earth 2, and, like, the people who regularly read comics can wrap their heads around this sort of thing, but if you're talking about trying to pitch this to general cinema audiences, nobody is going to have a clue what they're seeing and what's relevant, what isn't. Man, it's just going to be a nightmare. I think the only way forward I can see is to have some kind of movie, like some big event that just rationalizes all of this and streamlines it into one continuity. Because
they're going to have that actually.
That's kind of what Flashpoint is going to be. Yeah,
the Flash movie.
Yeah, but I don't think. I mean, it's fine if that like just establishes one continuity going forward. Then I feel like it's just going to like make you aware that there's multiple ones, and they're just going to use it as an excuse to like throw in random movies about whatever they want and say, "Well, it's in a different continuity than the rest of them. Don't worry."
I don't think you're wrong to a point. Like what they're going to do with the Flash movies is going to kind of converge all the other timelines. It's going to delete the Snyderverse, and then it's going to set up this new kind of like going forward road. And then on this opposite side, you'll have the Batman verse probably.
I mean, it's delete the Snyderverse, the one thing that's actually popular now.
And the Justice League sequel, the next Justice League movie, from what we have heard from, I think from both Mikey Sutton and from Small Screen Co. UK, that actually do really, really good job, like Edward Lauder, I believe his name is, that does amazing job covering everything that goes behind there. Their plan going forward for the Justice League is this multi-dimensional Justice League where they come together across the multiverse to solve things. So you're going to have Robert Pattinson's Batman interact with Black Superman and stuff like that. And of course, Black John Constantine. Let's not forget about him, because that's really important to J.J. Abrams. That's like one of their key things is to latch on to John Constantine and make him black.
There's a great quote in the chat there from Brightest Day that says, "Thanos, I used the Snyderverse to destroy the Snyderverse." That sums it up perfectly.
It's kind of true.
Yeah, and Eber B-Man also says on that note for $4.99. So thank you so much for that super chat. We really appreciate it. As a long-time DC customer, I have nothing but apathy for the comics and films. The heartache isn't worth the trouble, and at some point you have to walk. Yeah, that is actually a very, very good point right there. And we have a backlog of super chats, and we're going to get through every single one towards the end here. So just be patient if we haven't gotten to yours just yet. But yes, so you're not too excited about Joker and Robert Pattinson's Batman sharing continuity.
Not really, and I'm not particularly excited about the idea of a Joker sequel. That really felt like a movie that was just its own thing, like one well-done, self-contained story. I don't really want to continue that because I feel like they'll just fuck it up. And yeah, Robert Pattinson, as much as I've come to respect him as an actor after some of the movies he's done recently, I just cannot see him playing Batman.
Yeah, no. Even if he nailed Catwoman on the hood of the Batmobile,
I mean, that's a Chad move. Like, I got to respect him for that. But that's not something you're going to see in his performance, I don't think.
no, probably not.
As awesome as it would have been.
That's a completely different kind of movie there, Drinker.
Yeah.
They probably had more action on or behind the scenes than on camera. So yeah. But actually, on that note, because you mentioned the Joker and someone who isn't satisfied with his legacy of the Joker is, of course, Jared Leto, who got a new chance at the end of the Snyder Cut. But still, there's Suicide Squad. And in the Suicide Squad, there we also have the current cut, which is the studio cut, the one that they took away from director David Ayer and completely molded. Now, I'm not saying that the Ayer cut necessarily is a masterpiece, but like the Snyder cut, it's probably a much more comprehensive movie than the studio butchered version. And as we saw earlier, the Ayer cut is trending again. But Warner stubbornly won't release it. Drinker, why do you think they won't release it? I'm curious to hear your thoughts. Because again, this is something that they could throw together in weeks at almost no cost, because it's not as visual effects heavy as the Snyder cut. And his cut is already ready. It's just like finishing it up and getting it out there. It's going to cost peanuts and take no time. I mean, they could make the decision to release the Ayer cut today, which would be May 7th, and still have it out before the end of the month if they wanted to. So why won't they do it? Why do you think?
Well, yeah, I think because it scuppers their plans to move away from the Snyderverse. Because imagine if they have two movies in a row where they release the original director's version and they both turn out to be massively successful and popular with the fans. What does that make the studio look like? A bunch of absolute morons. And it's just going to add more fuel to the fire of people saying, restore the Snyderverse. It's like they got it right originally. You're just making things worse with what you're trying to do. So yeah, I see it as like they're almost afraid of it. I mean, I have no clue if it's any good or not. Like you say, if it's almost in a finished condition, why the hell not release it? I'd be curious just to see what it's like. If nothing else, I think it'd be an interesting comparison.
Exactly. But here's the thing. I mentioned before that we spoke with journalist Mikey Sutton of Geekosity magazine fame. As I just mentioned, he was the one who told us about their efforts to merge the Joker into the Pattinson Batman verse 1 year ago. And here we are. That was just confirmed by the Hollywood Reporter, no less. And we spoke with him last week, and then he gave us much, much more lowdown on what's happening behind the scenes of DC and AT&T. And it's a nightmare. We'll be releasing a separate video. But one thing that I think is very relevant right here is the reason why they won't release the Ayer cut, even though it's in a practically finished condition and can be released in no time. What we were told by Mikey Sutton is that the reason they won't release the Ayer cut is James Gunn's The Suicide Squad, because they are afraid that if they were to release the Ayer cut before James Gunn's Suicide Squad, that would take attention away from the James Gunn movie, take attention and eyes away from it. So they think it would actually hurt business for James Gunn's movie if they were to release the Ayer cut prior to its release. That's their logic. That's their thinking. Drinker, do you agree with their thinking?
Not really. I mean, I think it depends how far away you release it from James Gunn's one. You know, if you release it like the week before, okay, yeah, you're going to have two movies that are effectively competing against each other. But allow a decent gap. If anything else, it will actually increase people's interest in the whole Suicide Squad series, because James Gunn's movie is a kind of soft reboot, isn't it? Like / sequel, because you've still got Harley Quinn in it. You've still got what the hell's his name? The guy who ran the squad from the first movie. You've still got the woman who directs it. The characters are carried over, a lot of them, so it's kind of a sequel. So I don't see the problem in releasing this. If anything, I think it would increase people's interest in the sequel if it's a hit.
I think you are completely right. I think if they were to release it now in May, June, something like that, this is the best piece of marketing material for the James Gunn movie they could possibly put out there, and at low cost as well. It would give them a new movie for HBO Max. And what marketing material it's going to be, because again, if it's not much better than the previous theatrical release mandated by the studio, well, in that case, it will be out there, the fans will be pleased, and you're going to have the name Suicide Squad out there, and everyone will already know this was kind of a mess. And it'll dampen the hunger for the Snyderverse if it really isn't that good. Whereas if it is, people will be hungry for the continuation in the James Gunn movie, as you pointed out.
And to be honest, man, that movie needs all the help it can get, I think. Like, I could be crazy on this one, but I watched that trailer and I was bored for James Gunn's Suicide Squad. Like, it just did nothing for me. It wasn't funny. The jokes were flat. There was no real energy to it. It just looks like a half-assed production. And I think his heart wasn't really in it. I think he was keen to get back and do Guardians 3, and he's just like shat this movie out as quickly as possible so he can move on.
Yeah, I have no clue about that. Like, I wasn't that taken by the trailer either. But the more I think about it, the more I'm interested in seeing the shark, like King Shark, and also like the guy with the toilet bowl on his head. Like, what's his face? He looks. So I think that movie can be fun. But I also think that it really could have used the extra commercial push that an Ayer cut release could have been. But the powers that be at Warner Media think that releasing it would actually be bad for business. Not necessarily a line of thinking I agree with, or actually a line of thinking I couldn't disagree with more if I tried. But that's their way of thinking, apparently.
Yeah, it's a really strange one, but yeah, I would like to see the Ayer cut come out. If nothing else, like, I'd like to see the guy's original vision get a chance, because he was really screwed over by the studio with Suicide Squad. So he's kind of unfairly maligned for having made a bomb, whereas it totally wasn't his fault. So yeah, like, maybe his original version is a lot better, in which case it'll be some kind of vindication for him.
And I don't get the mentality either, because it used to always be a thing for, for whenever a movie would come out, they'd release all the previous versions and incarnations just to hype it up. It's like,
exactly. That's exactly what like all kinds of different cuts and stuff like that you release before the next installment, because that's just good marketing. But the powers that be at Warner Media evidently don't realize this.
Yeah, well, there's problems there. Yeah.
All right, with that, let's do a couple of super chats before we transition into the next main topic of today, namely the Black Red Sonja. And Tom is has something cool to open up there, so let's see what's in his mystery box. But while we look at that, I can no longer bring these super chats up on screen. Actually, you know what? Let's try something. An idea just occurred to me. Maybe we can do this. Let's see.
Short circuit too.
There we go.
Import Blu-ray. Yep.
I got a bit of a fondness for that movie, I must admit.
I like it.
I love it.
Yeah.
And then I got one from Shout Factory.
Yeah.
The new King, or well, not new, but the new version of 76 Kong with the poster.
Yeah, okay. Tom, hold it up because Max can't see. So let's do this. Yeah, there we go. Very
And
cool.
for those who wanted to see Short Circuit, there you go. It's really shiny.
There we go. Yeah.
So it's
Shiny.
hard to see. Yeah. There you go.
And then let's do a couple of super chats before we get into Black Red Sonja. And let's see if my idea works of getting the classic super chats on screen. Let's see. Hey, it worked because I can post them here. Hood in the Steadfast said for $12, best Robin Hood movie is Robin Hood, Men in Tights. You can't change my mind. Well,
And at
why
least
would
my
anyone
Robin
try?
Hood speaks with a British accent.
Yeah, exactly. Why would anyone try to change
Or does he say
that?
English accent? He says English accent, I think.
Yeah, I think he says that. I haven't seen that movie for years. Then Asian Hippie says they've not done Robin Hood with lightsabers yet. No, but give them time. I mean, they did Treasure Island with lightsabers, didn't they? Or they certainly did Treasure Island in space. So you never know what they might do.
Treasure Planet.
Exactly. I think that's what it was, wasn't it?
Yeah, and I think they've been in talks of doing that in live action as well.
Yeah. And then we have a question for you, Drinker. Let's see. Steph H wonders or says, "Hail Midnight's Edge." Drinker, I'm going to get it up on screen here by reproducing it here. Drinker, how do I get your books in the States?
Oh, good question. They should be available through Amazon, and if not, it'd be like Barnes and Noble or something you could try. Just all the usual online retailers should have them.
Pretty sure Amazon has, and I'll see if I can grab a link here.
Yeah, let's see if you can do that while I find the rest one.
Amazon's got everything, man. You could probably buy me on Amazon.
Here you are, Critical Drinker.
Yeah, there you go.
I can get you from several different sellers. This one's got shit for shipping, though, so I'm feeling they're going to just stuff you in a box.
Yeah, as long as they put a bottle of Jack in with me, I'll be fine.
They might. I don't know.
Yeah. And then we have Mags, who says... there it went. Mags says, "Where's my flipping table emoji?" Did we, Tom, did we promise a flipping table emoji? If not, maybe we should get on that.
I did not remember, but we can always work on that.
Yeah, we can try working on it. And then we have Dash D's, who says, "Wow, guys, Mendelssohn codes the Drinker. You should re-thumbnail it. Hockey helmets on the short bus edition, number 93. I won't charge you for consult." Okay, we'll take that into consideration. And then we have Isan Kumar, who says for 100 Indian rupees. Let's see, well, this was time consuming, but this way we can at least bring it up on screen, although it takes forever to do so. Superman's Caucasian chiseled face with the hanging lock of hair are as iconic to him as the S logo. Don't mess with modern mythology. And I agree. Superman isn't just a character. He is indeed modern day mythology. He is American mythology. I mean, like, you have mythology over in on your side of the pond, don't you, Drinker? And we certainly have in here up in Scandinavia. But American mythology, really, that is going to be the superheroes, isn't it?
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah.
So you're not just messing with random characters or comics. You're messing with mythology by changing those things. And then Hypergiver says Rob needs to be cast as J. Jonah Jameson now, in reference to your earlier comments about
Spider-Man?
copywriting and everything like that. So yeah,
I think Mags is just that super chat she was asking about the flipping table emoji. She's just explained there it was a reference towards the Mendelssohn article. Basically, because it's so dumb, she just wanted to flip a table.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. Let's do a couple more, then we're going to get into something else.
I just want to, on the whole subject of comic books being American mythology, one of my most favorite stories is about Michael Uslan, who was the first person to teach a class in a university on comic books because they had an open program where if you could convince the dean or whatever it was that, that the class you're trying to teach was worthy, then you'd get a semester to try it out. Well, and he comes in and he goes, "Oh, you're the comic book guy? Oh, you're not going to convince me of anything, but go ahead, give me your spiel." He goes, "I love Superman as a kid, but you're not going to convince me of all this, comic books are relevant to, anything in society other than they're just funny books." So he goes, all right. He goes, "Fair enough." He goes, "You said you're a Superman fan, right?" And he goes, "Yeah." He goes, "Tell me the story of Superman." He goes, "Well, Superman is Kal-El, sent from Krypton, the last surviving son, and he becomes the savior of Earth." He was like, "Okay, tell me the story of Moses." I was, "All right, Moses was all right, kid. You got your damn class."
Yeah, that's a great story. And then the next super chat. I think I missed the name there, but it's from Lord Trinan. Lord Trinan says for $20. Thank you so much. And what Lord Trinan says is planning a fantasy novel. I first planned the medieval period, but with the Red Sonja news, now thinking a Kona/Red Sonja period with similar outfits and a redhead. Are my frustrations driving my creative decisions too much? So yeah, Drinker, what do you think? Is Lord Trinan's frustrations driving his creative decisions too much?
I think if you can get passionate about it and you can channel that passion into creativity, then it can't be a bad thing. It might have started with your frustration at how crap, these characters are being treated. But yeah, if you can do that and use that productively to create something of your own, then do it.
Yeah, absolutely. There you go. And also what we can bring up on screen right now, the DCV Titan says for 10 Canadian dollars. Thank you so much. Non-redhead Red Sonja. Well then, yar har fiddly dee. No money from me will they see. Hoping the studio goes under with glee. Go sail the seven seas, matey.
Don't forget to use Surfshark.
I guess a round of applause, man.
But I'm sure many people probably can.
If you do that, don't forget the Surfshark. You see.
Yeah, we do not condone you going to the high seas, but we do we do condone staying safe on the internet. So you Surfshark.
Piracy be a crime, matey. He's hard to do it safely.
Do safe surfing.
And on that note, let's transition to the Black Red Sonja. Tom, I put the article into the private chat.
Yeah, this came out, and boy.
I got a feeling we're going to end up saying the same exact things we said about Superman.
I don't see the link here, Andre. Which chat?
You don't?
Which chat?
In the private one. There's. Did I not?
Maybe you didn't hit enter.
Maybe I didn't. Okay, well that's fine because I'll do it just one more time then. Simple as that. Try now.
All right, now I see one.
Yeah.
All right. So this come out, I think, just on the heels of our last show, so we just missed it. But we've been talking about this the last couple days, and we were actually on a stream yesterday with Clobbering Times talking about this. Red Sonja, Hannah John Kamen to star in Millennium's Sword and Sorcery feature, an exclusive from Hollywood Reporter. And as Rob would say,
it was leaked to them.
So yeah, we've been kind of keeping up with this a little bit. You did a video not too long ago about Red Sonja, or at least mentioned Red Sonja, right?
Yes, we did like a breakdown. We did a video on Red Sonja when the writer and the director were announced. And that was your first big red flag right there. Because the writer is someone that hasn't really written anything of note. She's a showrunner for an animated Tomb Raider series that's in development, and Lord only knows how she got that, because the other things that she's done is a comic movie, a crowd-funded comic book, and a documentary about garden landscaping.
No, she got it because of her pronouns. That's why.
There's a big chance of that. And of course, then it's the director herself, Joey Soloway, who first rose to prominence from writing a short story. You want to know the name of this short story?
White People Are Evil?
Not quite. Brace yourself. The name of the short story that made Joey Soloway a big name to begin with is Courtney Cox's Butthole. No, actually, it's Courtney Cox's Asshole, and it's about like anal bleaching, and that's the story that first put her on the map. And after that, she has been showrunner for...
Yeah, because she was like some assistant or whatever on Friends. That's how she got in the industry or whatever.
Yeah, something like that. And then basically wrote some stuff about Courtney Cox's bleaching habits. So yeah, good going with that. And since then, she has directed a few movies. She's been the showrunner of a few series, all of which revolve around gender identity, and changing gender identity. And so, with that, those are then the people that will be handling Red Sonja. So good going right there with the writer and director. And now they have a lead actress, Hannah John Kamen, who I Googled, and she's apparently half Norwegian, of all things, and half, I think it was Nigerian or Ethiopian, half black. So she's half Norwegian, half black.
Honestly, if you hadn't told me, I probably wouldn't have known, like, just looking at her. But yeah, it's the same problem we've had before. This one's just got failure written all over it.
Rob, can you do us the honor of reading a little bit of the article from the beginning so we get to the main points? And I'll stop where it's relevant.
Okie dokie. Red Sonja and John Kamen to star in Millennium's Sword and Sorcery feature. Exclusive. Not anymore, it ain't. Joey Soloway is directing the project, co-write the script with Tasha Ho, the showrunner of the upcoming Tomb Raider animated series. By Crumb.
Okay, stop. Wrong god. Crumb is Conan's god, not Red Sonja's god. So I see what they're doing there, but it only goes to show how utterly little they know about the source material. Red Sonja does not follow Crumb. Carry on.
Carrying on. I had to mute myself for a second. Where the heck is the article? I got too many tabs open.
Yeah, it's fine. Okay, I can get into the important thing here.
Shall I read it as the drinker?
Yes, please.
Yes,
do. Yeah, absolutely.
Where the fuck did it go?
Where is it?
Oh, here it is.
Yeah.
I got it. But drinker, please carry on. Thank you.
All right. By Crumb, the actress to wield the savage sword of Red Sonja has been found. Hannah John Kamen, who starred as a villain in Ant-Man and the Wasp and was a lead in the series Brave New World, will star in Millennium's long-gestating sword and sorcery feature. Shall I continue?
Please. Yes, continue. We're getting to the good points, the good stuff here.
Joey Soloway is directing the project and co-wrote the script with Tasha Hu, the screenwriter who is showrunning and executive producing the upcoming animated Tomb Raider series that no one's going to watch. Hannah is a very talented actress who we've been following for years. I haven't. And she is Red Sonja, except she's not, said Soloway in a statement.
Yeah, I really wonder,
okay,
how do you make that statement? She is Red Sonja. She was very sure, it seemed of it.
Okay, we've officially found Midnight's Edge's replacement for me. Drinker, I bid you much prosperity.
You do pretty much a better job than Rob does. So
But yeah, anyway, Drinker, please.
Can you say
the
yada
right
yada?
is
Nobody
there,
gives a shit.
Yada yada, nobody gives a shit.
Oh God, you got the job.
What is it? Her range, sensibility, and strength are all qualities we've been looking for, and we couldn't be more excited to embark on this journey together.
Good going. Very, very good going there. There's and then it's a bunch of stuff that was interesting, but no one really cares. So, but there's another thing here. Let's see if we go down a little bit to when the project was shopped at the European film market earlier this year. Feel free to resume from there.
All right. There could not be a greater moment in our world for Red Sonja's ways of wielding power and her connection with nature and our planet. Solely also noting, what am I reading? Solely also noted that Sonja is an ancient heroine with an epic calling. Well,
actually,
insight there.
Fucking no, there's no epic calling. Oh my God! So basically. Drinker, your thoughts on that? Red Sonja's ways of wielding power and her connection with nature and our planet. Oh. All of this is complete and utter bullcrap and has nothing to do with comics in any way, shape, or form. I just want to hear your take as a writer. Like, what does this tell you of what they're planning when they bring in about her wielding power and connection with nature and our planet? It's just what kind of Captain Planet thing are they planning here?
Yeah, I wasn't sure if you guys had heard of Captain Planet, but that was the thing that came to mind there. Yeah, what the fuck is this got to do with Red Sonja? I thought her thing was that she was on a revenge trip, like her village got burned down, kind of like Conan, and she's just like she's a warrior. You know, she's not magical or anything.
Much like Conan, she travels around looking for trouble.
Andre, doesn't the R word happen to her too? The R word that we can't say.
Yes, the R word that we cannot say. Yeah, that happens too.
Right. Yeah,
that's like way in the origin, and it did not give any Captain Planet powers.
And she didn't have an epic calling. She became what she was because she chose to. She wasn't like. There wasn't a prophecy that she had to do it or anything.
No. When Black Conan just went around looking for trouble.
Yeah, this is garbage. It's like, I don't know. It's like they just picked random words and kind of strung them together to make a sentence describing this character. It doesn't seem to bear much relation to who she is.
And speaking of who she is, what are the two defining features of Red Sonja? Because her personality and calling, if you will, all of this is going to depend on who is writing the comic book run at the time. So what are her two defining features? I don't mean those two, not like the obvious ones at front, but which other two character defining features is it that makes Red Sonja Red Sonja?
Well, I'm feeling like the word red is going to feature prominently in this.
Yeah, you're pretty close. Her red hair, that is one extremely visual, distinctive feature with Red Sonja. Now, what's the other visual that comes to mind when you hear the term Red Sonja?
She's scantily clad, and she has obvious assets.
She's buff. She wields a big sword. She is basically just like a female Conan.
She's and she has this chainmail bikini. That's like the thing. And guess what this movie is getting rid of, and why?
Because it's degrading to women. She can't have less than a full suit of armor on at all times.
Yeah, pretty much. It doesn't say so in this article, I think, but it's been stated elsewhere that much of the comic book readers, men, or much of the readership of the comics is male, and that's problematic because of the male gaze. You can't have that. So she has to wear proper armor.
Yeah. So yeah, she's just gonna look like a man essentially when you actually see her on screen.
Well, we'll see, and they may still give her red hair. Question is, how good is it going to look?
Well, she's very thin, so she's gonna look like I hate saying it, she's gonna look like a twig, in armor. Like it's gonna be almost like a Halloween costume, being worn by a little kid. It's gonna be unless she jacks up, which I don't think she has the body type for.
Yeah.
I don't think she's even like. Just thinking back to Ant-Man and the Wasp, which is literally the only thing I've seen this person in. I don't think she was even particularly tall or anything either. So I thought Red Sonja was meant to be big and tall and statuesque. She's like the Nordic kind of superhuman almost.
Yeah. Well, I will say because again, none of this is any kind of cast at Hannah John Kamen, who everything I've seen her in Ant-Man and the Wasp, she was good in that. But I don't know how well that she's going to fit in this role. But again, she's not the big problem here. It's obviously the writer and the director. And also on that note, Stephen Otten says for $50, thank you so much. I know Hannah John Kamen from her series Killjoys. I've interacted with her online a number of times, and she's always been sweet with me and appreciative to fans. However, she's miscast here. Better to give her an original character to play. What I think when I see her? I look at her and I think, that's Bailet. Bailet is Conan the Barbarian's first love. His real love, the one that he never got over. Like in the movie Conan the Barbarian, where Valeria, the character there, who in the original stories never had much more than a very brief fling with, she comes back from the dead to save him. That was Bailet who did that in the original stories. And Hannah John Kamen would have been perfect as Bailet in some kind of Conan adaptation on the Conan series for Netflix. If she had been announced as Bailet, I would have been, oh my god, fantastic, dream casting. But her as Red Sonja, I mean, absolutely no disrespect to her in any way, shape, or form whatsoever. But it will be very interesting to see what kind of Red Sonja she's going to be.
This is the thing that I've said before. Like, you can have the nicest person in the world, and like if this guy's telling us that she's great with the fans, like fair play. Like, I'm sure she's a nice person, but it doesn't mean that every person can play every role. And sometimes you just have to accept, there's certain ones you're just not going to be suited to. There's someone in chat's actually pointed out quite rightly. There's Mr. Wolf actually. He says Conan doesn't wear armor, so she doesn't need to either. That's a good point. Like,
yeah, exactly. That's the point that I have made as well. Is that this thing about the male gaze and how what she's wearing isn't fit for combat. She is more heavily protected than Conan is. She has more clothes on than he does most time.
Yeah, there was one.
Yeah, isn't it their way of proving how tough they are? It's like, look, I don't even need armor to protect me because I'm that good a fighter.
Yeah, she's basically just wearing armor to cover her naughty bits. That's about it. Let's be real. But one other thing you missed, Andre, is Sonja is a Nordic name, by the way. So
yeah, I know it is a Nordic name. Like, yeah.
Well, I mean, you could have pointed out. Yeah, that's another thing that could have been pointed out earlier too. That kind of points to this character's kind of set up the way it is, and again, we know the Roy Thomas version better than the original version, but
here's like the thing that in the Roy Thomas version, the character is Harkanian, which is basically like pre Southern Slavic, Northern Mid Slavic. About from where Ukraine is, right? And in the original Robert E. Howard stories, she's also basically Ukrainian. So she's Russian. That's basically what Red Sonja is. Is Sonja a very common name in Russia? I don't know, but yeah. But yeah, no, she's supposed to be a quite attractive Russian, red-headed, fierce lady. Gunslinger in the original story and swashbuckler in the Roy Thomas reimagination, which is what we're seeing right here. Now, of course, this movie is going to be based on the Dynamite comics. But again, which ones? Because depending on the writer, the character is very, very different, and they can't even like keep continuity straight from one run to the other. So yeah,
Natasha says no, it is not.
no, what is what?
Not a common Russian name, evidently.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That exactly. So
Then Alexander says it is. So I don't know.
yeah.
People have suggested Karen Gillan to play Red Sonja, and that's actually
Yeah.
not a bad suggestion because she
No,
is big. Like,
that's not a bad suggestion at all. And also for like if they want to go with like a feminist Red Sonja, you could do worse than Bella Thorne. I mean, yeah, she's tiny as a twig and everything, but like at least she's ginger. She has that going for her.
I just looked it up. This Hannah John Kamen person, she's 5'8". She's only an inch taller than me. I'm like, really? And she's going to be taking down probably 250-pound men in this movie. Like, come on, that's just not.
Oh, for sure, it's going to be very, very helpful stuntsmen. But to be fair, though, like that's some kind of disbelief that you're just going to have to suspend, because even in the comics, although yeah, for a woman she was big and she was very, very fit. However, she had no problem dealing with men 3 times her size. So that's like some kind of a suspension of a disbelief that you're just going to have to go with. Other the suggestions here are Jessica Chastain, Catherine Winnick. Yeah, she would have been freaking awesome for everything. But also we could look at like previous names that have been considered for Red Sonja. Megan Fox, she was considered at one point there, and then there is of course, what's her face? Help me out here. The one who was attached for the longest of time, who also was in the Conan movie. The Me Too lady.
Yeah. I know what you're talking about. I can't think of her damn name. Robert Rodriguez is ex.
Yeah, that one exactly.
Yeah, but the thing is,
Rose McGowan. Thank you,
McGowan.
Jason
Yes.
Gallagher. Rose McGowan. Like all of those would have been better, but something that is not better. Drinker, you have to leave us pretty soon.
I'm afraid I do.
Yeah,
yes.
but before you go, we have a couple of super chats here that address you.
Okay.
STR Red Wolf says that article needed the critical drinker treatment. From I need a beer. And let's see if there are any others here. Just browsing through here real quickly. To see if I see your name show up before we let you walk out the door. I think. I think that. Oh, let's see if there's one more here. Yes, Spider Unlimited. Let's see if I can bring this one on screen. He said for 24. We got this one already. Spider Unlimited, but it's worth repeating. Says that he's halfway through Something to Die For, amazing read, and anyone interested in great reads, definitely check out the Ryan Drake series. Each book is better than the last. Cinematic and exciting. So high praise for your books there. Drinker, everyone knows where to find you on YouTube, but where can they find your books?
Yeah, you can get them from all good online retailers and probably a few shit ones as well.
All right. And is there anything else you want to plug?
No, not at the moment. Like I say, I'm going to be doing a Resident Evil 8 stream because I'm excited to play that game. I'm going to do that later on tonight. And yeah, soon I'll be releasing my Drinker Fixies Game of Thrones Season 8. That's going to be big.
That's going to be exciting. So I look forward to that. Till then, thank you so much for dropping by and talking some Superman and Red Sonja and who knew, Captain Planet with us. It's always a pleasure to have you on.
Thanks, guys. We'll see you later.
Take care.
All right.
And I also have to comment that I see in the chat that Mike Cat and others are discussing Gwendolyn Christie as Red Sonja. Well, she's busy being Lucifer over at Sandman, which actually is an inspired piece of casting, I have to say. But yeah, but we're not alone. We have someone else joining us, don't we?
Yes, sitting in for Drinker now, we have the one, the only Polly from Latino Slant.
And Midnight's Edge Espanol.
Indeed.
Whoa.
Whoa.
Oh, shit.
You're bright.
Oh my God, what happened? I'm trying to turn it down. It's not working.
That's all right. How you doing, Paulie?
Oh shit. Yeah, you go from the Scottish drunk to the sober Mexican. What do you want?
Well.
Pretty good. What's up,
One
fellas?
half of the other.
we go from the Scotch to the tequila.
Exactly. Oh, that was my.
Anyways. Yeah, that was okay. Long time ago. Yeah, you caught my drift.
Good times. Good times.
Yeah, good times. Long ago.
Yeah.
He meant the song.
Tequila.
The
champs. I love it when Pee Wee he asked that the Mexican cook, hey, let me borrow your shoes, right? And so he gives him his shoes, and the Mexican goes like from here. Remember that in the movie? And Pee Wee puts his shoes on and he starts doing the dance. Oh shit! I don't know if you guys ever caught that. That was a great moment.
No, but I will now.
Yep.
Yeah,
the song. Yeah. He puts the money in the jukebox. He sees the Mexican cook who's got like a he's just like coming out of the kitchen, and he's like he gives him his shoes, and the Mexican goes down like this. Wait, what? We can't laugh at ourselves. What's going on here?
Yeah,
we're not allowed to laugh.
There's nothing better to laugh at, is there? Well, of course, some things,
man.
Yeah,
I'm telling you. Yeah.
But Paulie, so what's up? How are things?
Wonderful. Just pumping away. How's everyone in the chat? Cheech and Chong are invaded our Cinco de Mayo party of the night. That's up on the Latino Slant. And then we got the Zorro, the marker Zorro, which is doing really well on Midnight's Edge Espanol. And then we're going to have a couple of journalists from Mexico joining us next week. So I'm excited.
Very, very cool. That should be very interesting. So yeah, for those that haven't seen it, we have a brand new Zorro retrospective up here on the main channel, and it's also available in Spanish over at Midnight's Edge Espanol. So everyone, go check that out. The channel is brand new. It has 240 subscribers right now, and
nice.
In order to take off, like, it's difficult to start a YouTube channel and to get any kind of traction. So please consider going there, helping it out a little bit, and let YouTube know that this is something that is to be recommended and pushed a little bit. Like, the algorithm needs some start help. And Clifton 3D says, when are you getting Midnight's Edge Germany? Let's get Midnight's Edge Espanol up and running first. Let's not bite over more than we can chew. But I'd be open to a Midnight's Edge Deutsch, absolutely. But again, all things in time, and now the focus is on Midnight's Edge Espanol. When Clifton, that is self-going, then we'll see.
But can we get a version of the intro with an accordion? That's the question.
Ooh, and that would go good in a lot of Latin American countries too. You can cross that over, because that accordion made its way to Latin America.
Yeah, the tuba going.
Well, we can hear with Doidank.
Right,
Doidank, he's the one who made both the original Midnight's Edge opening theme, as well as the remixed version in the current intros and the Midnight's Edge Espanol intro. So that's Doidank. The description is for where you can find him on SoundCloud is in the description for all the videos using that logo. So just go and find one there.
And real quick, for those who haven't seen it yet,
Yes, and that's then Thomas Stahl who did the visuals, and Doidank who did the audio for that. So, and they also did the previous intro and the music for that. Well, that's pretty awesome. Very happy with that. So Midnight's Edge Deutsch. I actually got an email about that. I don't know if that was from you, but it's. So I would like to do it, but all things in due time.
Yeah, I mean, it's all about demand, and where our international audiences are coming from. We have a huge following in Mexico, Brazil, Puerto Rico, Argentina, Colombia. So we figured Espanol is a great connective tissue, and we're off to the races. We have great content on that channel, and we could, we really, I know a lot of people who have don't know a lick of Spanish, and they are just subbing for support, which is amazing. But also try to get in there for the live streams. We do a little bit of English, and just follow along and help us really get the word out. So thank you guys. Gracias, muchísimas gracias.
I'm with Bob here. We need Midnight's Edge in English. Good show today, folks. We have all the news from the inside Hollywood.
Black Superman, you say?
Black Superman, we say.
Oh,
Rob, what do you think of this?
Oh, I think it's jolly good idea.
I think it's rubbish.
Oh, I disagree.
I don't disagree with you. Now.
And also, Stephanie Janisek's Smuggler's Cantina says, I'd be for Mead Deutsch. Yeah, Tom, you'd get to practice your school German.
Oh, God. It's been 30 years, man. Or, well, not that long. 20.
Yeah, but for right now, it's Midnight's Edge Espanol, and that's the focus. And when that is really up and running, then we can see about further exploring.
We need as for Midnight's Edge English.
Yes,
yeah, we definitely need as for Midnight's Edge English.
Oh God,
I say.
Yeah. And also, Jakub Romanski points out, don't know why, but when you type Midnight's Edge Espanol in YouTube browser, it does not show any content. No, exactly. This is what we're talking about. The algorithm needs to be notified that the channel is there, because it's such a new channel. It's not even a week old. It has 240 subscribers. Those kind of numbers. Channel simply doesn't show up. Which is why we need your help in trying to get it out there, so that YouTube starts making it visible. Because as it is right now, you can type in Midnight's Edge Espanol and you won't find it. That's why we need your help to make it visible, so that the audience that it is intended for, who aren't even aware of it, will be notified of it. So
yeah, and I could just say about our live streams. You have Diego Flores and Geek Tropology just blazing it up, real great opinions and analysis in Spanish. And I'm not like that Spanglish connection to the greater, non-speaking Spanish-speaking audience into that. So it's we're really working the chemistry, and it's coming along, and we want to have that nice and ready. So when we bring in live guests, there's a good foundation, like you guys.
Yes, exactly. And with that, Midnight's Edge Ireland, Father Ted joke. I love Father Ted. It's such a good series, so good. So yeah, that's pretty awesome. And also Midnight's Edge Blackadder, best channel. Oh, I love Blackadder, like best series ever.
Someone had a Midnight's Edge California Ryan Canal with Ryan Canal.
So yeah, that's something. But let's get back into some of these super chats, because we are a little bit behind. I'm going to try to come back to where we were. Getting close to it. Yeah, here we are. Tonister Tree says you're just going to have to listen as I go through them because these are classic super chats we can no longer bring up on screen. Tonister Tree says waiting for the new underground emergence like the 70s and 90s films. And Eric Winberg says, hail, and thank God it's Friday to y'all. Yeah, indeed, it's Friday, everyone. Although, of course, this day and age was a difference. So.
Yeah, and going back to that chat just before that, yeah, I brought that up many a time, how that's how things changed in the past. But we're overdue for that, and I think that the gatekeepers are doing the best they can, especially with this manufactured movement, by keeping as many non-Hollywood folk out. But otherwise, YouTube and things like that, and the fact that you can make a movie with your phone, it makes no sense that we're at this point where we haven't found, the next Tarantino or the next Scorsese yet. It's insane.
Well, I mean, in a way, those guys like Alejandro from earlier this week, there's a lot of those talented dudes that are doing stuff for peanuts, the making movies with very little money nowadays. So it is, there is hope.
It's out there,
is hope.
But
yeah,
there is that gate that they will not allow like they used to. I mean, and that has to do with the corporate side of things, unfortunately.
And you're totally right, because even he's gotten a little bit of it. Remember, he's saying his movie's not Mexican enough, and then he's like, it's a Mexican director. It's like, what the hell?
Yeah, because he didn't make a situation where the movie was completely revolved around a character being Mexican. That's why.
I was listening to you guys' talk earlier, but I know you guys got super chats, but I'd love to give my 2 cents later.
Yeah, well, since we're at it, give your 2 cents right now.
Well, we're talking about race swapping, and then the air cut, I love David Ayer with the tax collector. He not only did he take a lot of shit, but the Latinos that were in it took a lot of shit from gatekeeper Latino writers in Hollywood, journalists, because they're negative stereotypes.
In Mexican, would they be journalists?
Periodistas.
All over the floor.
All over the floor. But it's like when you're so sensitive to any portrayal, that even the stereotype of a drug lord or cholo or whatever, wocosos también, Natasha, where you're going after your own actors and writers, and going after David Ayer in an article, and then saying that there should be a warning in front of the movie for people with PTSD over drug wars and cartels. It's like, dude, this is a movie. This is entertainment. People like to see stuff getting blown up. We love shooting shit up, blowing stuff up, kung fu, all that good stuff. You can't make these people happy. Yeah, you can't make these people happy, and so it's just insane. And at first I was kind of into the Red Sonja casting, but now it's like, I really like her, but I hear in your conversation, yeah, she's just physically not, just too small. I don't even know how to word it right, but
yeah, and she's not even the big problem here. Other than the fact that it's Red Sonja, and you can color her hair red, but I don't know how good it's going to look, because I mean, just look at Jessica Alba in the Fantastic Four when they and she's great, but then they dyed her hair blonde, and they tried to make her blonde, basically doing whiteface, I guess. I mean, and Jessica Alba is a beautiful, beautiful woman, and I don't think that she has ever looked more off-putting than that, because like what they did with her hair, it just doesn't mesh with her natural skin tone or anything like that. It doesn't mix.
Or we might as well have just kept her brunette and just kind of, I don't know.
That would have been better.
Right?
That would have been better.
Right.
Because again, there's no reason why Sue Storm must be blonde. So they cast Jessica Alba for the role. Fine, let her be Jessica Alba. Simple as that. Let her have her own natural skin and hair color and even eye color. I mean, did they give her blue contact lenses too? I think they did. For like maximum
really
uncanny
weird.
valley.
She looked really weird, man.
Yeah, maximum uncanny valley, and that's like the thing that they would have been better off keeping her, but not having her be blonde. Whereas in this case, like either she's not with this actress here for Red Sonja, either she's not going to be ginger, or she's going to be ginger, but then there's a big chance she's going to look much like Jessica Alba did there as Freaky.
Yeah, I mean, you hit on all kinds of.
Well, I gotta say, as freaky as Jessica Alba looked, none of it was as bad as Kate Mara's wig. Let's be real.
No, of course not. That was even worse.
Sorry, Paulie.
Kate Mara was also dreadful.
I didn't see that one.
Yeah, like
I didn't see Fan Four Stick.
You can tell the reshoots because the wig is so obvious.
Yeah, I mean that movie just looked bad. There's just movies that I just won't see because they just look bad. But yeah, no, man. Even my wokiest of woke friends that are just comic book fanatics, they just know everything. Even they're like, it just doesn't work with Clark Kent making Kal-El and making Clark Kent black. You're gonna have to redo too much of the legend, and obviously Coates, he's not gonna respect the legend. So it's a good move that Michael B got out of the way on that one. And I do know that they casted Sasha Calle as Supergirl. I don't know, other than her being cast, if she's Kal-El's cousin, but I don't know, other than being cast, if the character is going to be Latina, rewritten her backstory. I hope to God not. I hope she's just Supergirl. She's a really good actor, but I don't know what Buschetti's Flashpoint. I don't know how that's all going to work out, but it's a lot, man.
Yeah, indeed it is. It absolutely is. So shall we move on with with super chats? Yeah.
We do got a new Muppet show, by the way, or a movie, one of the two. It's on Disney Plus. They just announced it. Care? Well, Rob and I like the Muppets.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I know you liked the Muppets of old, but like new Muppets today on Disney Plus. How excited are you?
It's called Muppets Haunted Mansion. The good part is that the trailer has Gonzo and Pepe in it, which are like some of the only, I think the only two with their original fucking people playing them still. But they don't really give me anything with the trailer. It's just them two yakking. So I don't know if they're taking the classic Haunted Mansion ride from Disney and mixing it with the Muppets, or what the deal is.
We've got a new show.
It's called Muppets Haunted Mansion.
It's called Muppets Haunted Mansion. That's a really bad Gonzo.
You sound more like Miss Piggy.
Kermit. Hiya.
that was really
that was
good.
Funny.
That was pretty good.
I remember when she did that.
Cool,
was...
Say, oh, Kermit the Frog.
Kermit. Oh, Kermit.
That's a pretty good piggy, and you did a pretty good Kermit there too, Paulie.
Hey everyone, it's the Muppet Show!
Yay! All right.
I used to love that show.
What about me? I fuck chickens. Is that problematic?
Yeah, I don't think there's going to be much of that. Of course, I do look forward to the Swedish chef, though, because the Swedish chef sounds like a Norwegian is always awesome.
He is so racist. They wouldn't let him have it. I'm surprised they used Pepe.
He used the word Swede, so that's perfectly fine. They're an acceptable target.
I'm surprised they brought Pepe back, though. He's been kind of like missing in action for a while. He was one of the newer Muppet characters I actually liked. He's the shrimp, the little shrimp guy. I'm a king.
The one that the prawn that the Swedish chef is like trying to eat all the time.
Yes. He's like, I'm not a shrimp. I'm a king prawn. Okay. I just love him in Muppets from Space when they're like, "You will build a jacuzzi." It's like, you tell him the truth and I will spank you, okay, like a bad donkey. I just love Pepe.
But
he's the only one who feels like an old school Muppet from the newer characters, because he came in during Muppets Tonight, which was the Disney's first try at doing a Muppet show, and that's when they added the Jamaican Muppet or whatever, Pepe, and it was a bunch of diverse Muppets they added basically, and they ended up being mostly stereotypes.
Yeah, it's funny how that works,
isn't it? Yeah, Quack.
Sorry.
But yeah, moving on from Quack to back to Super Chats. The next one that of course I can hack it to get it up on screen, if it lets me here, is Marek Barishk. That's how you pronounce it. Sent us 25 Polish zloty. So thank you so much. All new, all black, all boring and uninspired. More interesting is poo storm around those movies than actual movies. Yeah, we've been hearing that a lot the last few years, haven't we, Tom? Like that the behind-the-scenes drama is more interesting than...
Well, usually it is, yeah.
Yeah, that's often the case. And then we had a clarification to an earlier super chat from Frika Delic, who says... clarification was asking if Singer's proclivity for the underage may have been a likely influence in his design inputs for Soups having a juvenile look. I don't think so. I don't think so at all. And I don't even recognize that. And speaking of jokes, I have to bring this one up on screen. Joachim Stark says, how many Swedes does it take to screw in a light bulb? It's funny. I thought that Swedes had that joke about Norwegians. We're the ones that have it about the Swedes, because we have the exact same jokes about each other, Norwegians and Swedes, and the Danes usually get away. So, yeah. But no, I don't know the answer. So everyone, let us know in the chat. How many Swedes does it take to screw in a light bulb? And moving on from there, back to the classics. Bertrand Kurt Russell has a very nice suggestion for an updated Superman slogan, which I actually do think that Ta-Nehisi Coates very well might put in there. Feelings, social justice, and the anti-American way. So, yeah, good going with
the
that.
Nightmare on Elm Street house sold again. The last time I think it was for 1-point-something million. This time it sold in less than 40 days for 2.8 million.
Really? That's all? I would have thought that it would have...
Well, it's a smaller house in California, but considering that's the reason it's worth so much, mainly is just because of the Nightmare connection. But that's like almost doubled in price in like 10 years or 15 years.
No, that's not a bad investment, not in this economy. So, yeah. And then we have Dash D's, who says, Clark joins the Black Panthers, cleaning the hard streets, wins the Vietnam War, saves JFK. As his reputation grows, Wakanda gets noticed and he turns in the S for the Panther costume. Well, that's one direction it could go. And on that note, then we have Troy Pacelli, who says, this would be a little bit faster, Black Panther is actual representation. while Black Superman is cultural looting. Yeah, that's many perspectives to have there. And on the quality of the writing for everything we've covered today, especially Coates, Madeline's Id says, I could dip my wiener in ink and write a better story than Coates. And then we have Exploding Prinny, who says, come on, oh, this is slow. Not President Superman, not Tangent Superman, not Val Sod of Earth 2. We washed Clark because F you, that's why. You're probably not all that wrong in that. And then we have Master Clockwork, who says, just remake the Meteor Man. And Etienne Falardeau has a slightly longer super chat here. Let's see if I can copy this or if it'll be cut out on me. I think it got
We need
cut out.
music for you if you're going to do that.
DC owns Icon for Black Superman, Static Shock for their Black Spider-Man. You can make a whole Dakota City cinematic universe if necessary.
It just makes no sense. Why you've got all these other characters, just use them. Why do you got? And I know the answer as to why they keep doing this, but it's because they don't trust themselves. Like, it's the whole thing that goes back to Miles Morales. Why wasn't Miles Morales in his own movie on his own, Rob? Because he's not
they weren't confident in the character that he could stand on his own in his own movie, or at least market it that way.
And there was reason to believe that, because Into the Spider-Verse, like it or not, is still the lowest grossing Spider-Man movie, period. I mean, yeah, it's animated, but still. It did well on video, but in theaters, it didn't do that great.
Yeah. And then I saw, let's see, that 70s rock fan wants us to fast forward to his super chats. Let's see if we can't do that.
I think he had
has to drop
2
out
or
here.
3, I think, yeah.
Yeah, well, we'll see what we can do here. I just have to find them first. Just have to go through the list here. Just give me 1 second. Well, actually, give me 10 seconds.
Well, why are you doing that? I was vibing for the release the Superman Cheech cut.
Don't get him started.
No, I mean, I think Cheech. I think Cheech filmed the Superman back in the 80s.
He did. He did.
I think that the people want the Cheech cut. Come on, Chad, are you with me? We want the Cheech Superman cut.
No.
Yeah. and then we have the one super chat from that 70s rock fan. I'm just going to see if I can bring it up here. That 70s rock fan says, for 20 Canadian dollars, thank you so much. My Spanish is poor, and I love Midnight's Edge and Espanol and Latino slant. You'd be mad not to sign up to those channels. Oh, well, thank you.
Appreciate it.
And also, here's like the thing that you'll actually learn some Spanish, because it's not exclusively Spanish. Is it, Polly? Like, there's quite a bit of English there.
I do show up though periodically, and if I hear them, if I hear things that I do understand, I start to yell at them.
I know, you're so mean.
Like, I don't hear no Spanish. Oh, he's English. I can understand this.
But look at the chat now. Release the Cheech, the 420 cut. Yeah. No, yeah.
I stand for truth, justice, and all that stuff.
John Wayne's the president.
John Wayne, I'm just like him.
Oh, man, that guy used to be on Death Valley days. John Wayne.
Where are you born?
Born in East LA.
You want those guys in those horoscopes? I'm against it with the Bad Moon Rising.
Andre still needs to see Born in East LA.
I have procured it. I'm just waiting
procured
to
it.
see it. Yes, I have procured it. So I'm just looking forward to the opportunity to actually see it. No, like you sold me on the pitch instantly. I said like, oh, I want to see this. I meant it. So I'm seeing that. I can't wait to see it.
I see in our future a Born in East LA stream.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes, absolutely. I even see in our future like a East LA series or something like that. So, yeah.
Well, we were talking about doing in between when which would have been yesterday would have been nice, but things changed at the last minute with Robert. When we're not doing the Bond reviews with him, doing reviews of films that we had never seen before, but are considered classics. And so we've already kind of got it started on a few things, but the Born in East LA was definitely one of those movies that was at the top of the list for Andre to check out, along with things like The Last Starfighter, and whatnot. I did see a brand new movie last night, though.
Which one would that be?
That'd be the new Western with Tom Hanks, News of the World.
One. Yeah,
it was really good.
Oh,
really
that's been around. Yeah. I still haven't seen it.
Just come out on Blu-ray yesterday, or Tuesday.
Yeah,
you recommend it?
Yeah, highly recommend. Great movie. Nice. Great movie.
Yeah. Very cool.
The basic storyline is pretty simple, and it'll hook you without telling too much. But basically, Tom Hanks is an old war veteran who goes around town to town reading the news to farmers. On his way, he stumbles across a wagon that's been destroyed, and the driver hung. And what he was doing was transporting a little girl who had been kidnapped by Indians and raised by them. So that's kind of the setup of the story. From there, I'm not going to tell you anymore, but it's really interesting.
Yeah. And then moving on from there, next super chat is from some dude who calls himself Latino Slant. And he says, I want Samuel Jackson as Alex. Tom,
Lex.
Now.
Sorry, Lex Luthor. I want Sam Jackson as Lex Luthor.
All right.
Okay, Tom, Luthor. Line reading now.
Which Lex Luthor, though?
Well, for the I don't know, for the new, just improvise, brother. Improvise.
Well, let's see. Let me think here.
God.
Kitty, what did my father used to say to me?
Get out.
Before that. Nice. Everybody wants land. They'll pay out the nose to get it. Fucking
nice.
That was pretty good.
That was great. That was Gene Hackman.
That was really good. Yeah, that was like the recognizable Luthor line that everyone will also be able to recognize. That was good.
Even though I did say Kitty and not Miss Tessmacher, but yeah.
Oh,
I'm sure she'll forgive you.
I found the bathroom.
And but we have a few more super chats, and the next one is from REBUSD, who says for $5, thank you so much. Coates wants to punish people. He is filled with hate. He's happiest when he sees real suffering. He's mentally incapable of writing a hero. And you could be onto something. We'll see. And Captain Hare says, when is the Robot Shlomo channel getting rebranded Midnight's Edge for Deviants?
Well, yeah, we get some legal issues to work out with that. So
method.
Method.
And then we got the super sticker from Buttcrack Media, which is an awesome name right there.
An awesome icon to go with it.
Yeah. And then Ray Young 74 says, Tom, calling Pepe the Prawn a shrimp.
He's a king prawn, okay?
And to Andre, but how did the Swedes get in the light bulb? And who is better to answer that than the Swede Joakim Stark, who even answered that for another Swedish 20 krona, 1000 tack. 3, one holds it standing on a stool and 2 spins it. So, yeah.
Andre, did you ever hear the joke about how many guitar players does it take to screw in a light bulb?
No, but do share.
10. 1 to screw in the light bulb, 9 others to stand around and say, yeah, I could do it better.
Yeah, that's true. And I gotta say, my heart's warmed for all the Pepe love. So there you go. I thought I was the only one.
And also, Alex Ashkin says, Rob's channel is future Midnight's Edge Italiano. Yeah, that's something.
yeah, I don't speak a word. That's the inherent problem.
Well, you don't speak words that you can say over.
No,
YouTube.
it's going to be hosted by my good friend Bob.
The whole show, Rob, just be like, "What's wrong with you?"
It's going to be hosted by my good friend Bob Fangool.
Hey, look at me.
We just sit there and watch The Godfather all day. That's all.
Hey, this is your friend Bobby Fangool. I'm hosting Midnight's Edge Italian. Hey, all right. Coming up, we got Andre. Hey, Andre, what?
Hey, don't be a smart ass, huh?
Hey, don't be. Hey, don't make me get up, okay?
Am I funny? Am I funny to you? How? Like a clown?
I'm just going to ask what the protection covers. That's it. And then we have Jonathan Encarnacion, who says for $5 Canadian, anyone read yesterday's Esquire article on 20 worst MCU characters ranked? It reads as if it's a guide to how we are to enjoy our fiction.
Not surprised. I wouldn't be. Esquire's another one of those that's probably. Look,
I bet that Iron Man is the most problematic, so he's the worst of them.
Oh, of course, because he's a rich white man.
Yeah, I haven't seen the article, but thanks for the tip. We're gonna have to check that out. I'm just gonna go right here, and no, it wasn't.
Rob's got to review Goodfellas. Says Marahu.
Hey.
Oh my God! Oh, I can't believe. Okay, we're gonna get into this article later. I just skipped to the number 1 spot, and I'm in shock. But
is it Captain Marvel or is it Mrs. Marvel?
No, it's worse.
Oh no!
It's none of them. It's
none of the above.
It's none of the above.
Is it Shuri?
Yoko Ono's breaking up the Beatles again?
You are again. It's none of the characters that you would think it is, but it's someone that absolutely. I'm going to screw it. The number 1 worst person in the entire MCU.
Oh, it's the worst ranked.
Yeah, the worst in the entire MCU is Bill O'Reilly.
What the fuck?
Bill O'Reilly's in the MCU?
Wow.
He's on the TV screen in the background talking about Tony Stark.
Come on.
This is, well, I was gonna say just before this, you do realize that 99% of the media is so fucking alt left. It's not even funny.
Yeah, Elon Musk is number 4 because he was in an Iron Man scene.
Oh, come on.
So weirdos, man.
I'm gonna put the link to the article.
Is Jordan Peterson on that list too? I mean, Red Skull?
No, because he hasn't been in. Well, I haven't checked in detail. I just jumped straight down to number 1 spot.
Oh, I was Lord shocked. Almighty! All right, let's get to these super chats so we can get to this list. Oh my God!
Yeah. I will, by the way, say that Star-Lord is more problematic than Red Skull.
Is Bob on the list?
Gee, and I wonder. Yeah. Bob Fangu is on the list, and I wonder why. I wonder why Star-Lord would be problematic. It has nothing to do with his comic book character, but it probably has everything to do with who's playing him on screen. Because they have been trying to cancel and recast his ass for a while now.
What?
Recast him with John Boyega. Where do I vote?
Yeah, haven't you been following that, Paulie?
No. What happened?
Well, basically, how do I put this? Chris Pratt is too Catholic, or too. I don't know if he's Catholic, but he's too religious.
No, he's like a Christian.
He's too Christian, conservative.
Yeah,
too family values and stuff like that. Yeah.
Well, I think there was a connection with his church and some maybe.
There was a whole big
conversion
calling him like transphobic and anti-gay and shit without any proof whatsoever, just because he's part of this church or whatever. Yeah, and it's like, okay, what is that? And then he was silent when all the other, members of the Avengers
Last year.
were out there, for voting. And then that automatically meant he was conservative just because he was silent. It was like maybe he just doesn't want to get involved. Like could it just be that perhaps?
Remember, silence is violence, and he was violent towards the left with his silence.
Yeah, I didn't mean to misquote his Christianity. I don't know exactly what he is offhand, but yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, we have a few more super chats to go through here. But Jonathan Encarnacion, thank you for that 20 words.
Yeah, and Alex points out the church is not transphobic. That's the thing. Most churches and other and I'm not going to blow your brains out here. Holy shit. Almost every organization that was a private club of any kind, guess what? They wouldn't let you in if you were black, gay, any of those things. It was the way it was back in the fucking 50s and beyond that, before things became more inclusive. It's just, that doesn't mean things haven't changed. It's just ridiculous.
Yeah,
and to judge somebody on that is bullshit as well. So anyway,
but moving on with the super chats, Freakadelic says, just like how you wouldn't cast MLK as a non-black, Soups is so iconic that he's like a real person in that sense, and the audience is liable to see a miscast. Oh yeah, for sure. And this says for $10.
It's this, I think.
Him says for $10. So thank you so much for that. When Dan DiDio created the new Batwoman, he blocked anyone from making a true origin story relying on her just being a lesbian. Finally, DC executives forced him to make a true origin story. And Ghost says, only way this film will be good is if Dave Chappelle directs Black Superman. And then there are some quotes that I cannot be the one reading because I can't do Dave Chappelle if my life depended on it.
Dave
Chappelle. Put it down here. And then some of you guys will have to.
Fuck your couch. I'm Clark Kent, bitch.
Exactly. And then Thornton Wager says, hopefully once the general public figures out who Coates is and what he said, we get another Ghostbusters 2016. This would not surprise me. And Straight White Mage says, Marvel already has a perfect vehicle for reimagined characters. What if? I would go see a Silk movie done under that banner. It'll be fun to see how that animated series turns out. And Cyber Soldier says for $5, if you had to guess box office with this Superman movie, more than Man of Steel or less than Superman Returns? What do you guys think? More than Man of Steel or less than Superman Returns for Coates' Black Superman?
What is the exact question? Andre, you're muted. Oh, yeah, I'd probably go for
it. Sorry about that. I said I'll bring it up on screen here. Just give me 1 second.
Yeah, no problem.
This question from Cyber Soldier is it's just so time consuming to copy from this one here.
No, it's
StreamYard is used 5 seconds to think before putting it up on screen when I post it.
If you had to guess the box office with this Superman movie, more than Man of Steel or less than Superman Returns? More than Man of Steel or less than Superman Returns? Well, Man of Steel didn't do all that much better than Superman Returns, so that doesn't leave you a whole lot of leeway in between there. Or less than Superman Returns. It all depends on who they get to star. I think that'll matter. As far as unless they get somebody, I think that's why they're trying so hard to get somebody like Michael B. Jordan, because unless they do get some kind of name star, nobody's going to go see this movie because nobody's going to care, especially if you try to market it as Superman. I mean, if you market a character that's black, that's like Superman, like Hancock, or what was the other one that came out like a couple of years ago recently? I can't think of the name of it. I think didn't James Gunn produce it or some shit like that? Brightburn or something like that.
Oh, Brightburn. Oh yeah, that was a great movie.
Yeah. People are more than willing to accept characters like that, or just do a character that everybody already knows, like Luke Cage. But I think we've kind of already touched on this, and I think that's the way the most of the general audience is going to react too. They're just going to look at it and go, "Why would I want to do this?" And I think Ghostbusters was a good example to bring up because that's like the litmus test for this shit. Because most of the general audience is like, I didn't ask for that. I don't want that. No, thank you. Next, and you can't continue to pander to an audience that isn't there. And that's what we consistently say on the show is, and I've seen it time and time again where I seen some idiot say it again on Twitter the other day. Oh, I'm so glad they got rid of Gina Carano. It's because of their transphobia. I couldn't watch Mandalorian before. Now it's a safe space that I can watch it from. That isn't something a normal person says. That's a propaganda mouthpiece. Because that's exactly what we've been hearing out of these people at Hollywood. And that's why they're trying to push the shit. And it's all fucking manufactured bullshit. They don't really believe it. It's just a way for them to get virtue signaling points. And then when it fails, they aren't the ones who get the finger wagged at them. They get to wag the finger at you. That's the difference here. And it's the easiest scapegoat out of making shitty material. Because instead of just taking a chance on doing something that could be good or possibly falling flat on your face, they just want to do this. So then even though they know it's going to fail, that they don't get the blame. Because that's one thing in Hollywood is, success has many children or has many parents. But when it comes to, a failure, nobody wants to take the blame because then their heads are going to roll. And that's the problem you have. And that's why they consistently want to try and reshape and reform and remake and reboot and all these words you want to throw in there, but it's always some kind of swap or this or that or the other so they can get those woke points. And at the same time, it cushions them from any kind of criticism, which is just fucking cowardice, if you ask me. But yeah.
Yeah, that was a long-winded answer, but Rob,
No, sorry.
do you think that... no, it's quite all right. Rob, do you think that this Superman movie will make more than Man of Steel or less than Superman Returns?
Well, Man of Steel made like, what, $650 million?
Nah, I don't think it made that much.
No, it's hard to say. I think there's going to be a lot of people that are going to be... Listen, it's the same thing with anything. You get a lot of people are going to start saying, I'm not a fan of Superman,
almost 670.
but what did it make? 690?
Almost 670.
Yeah. But they're going to say, I'm not a fan of Superman, but I'd go see this movie. Oh, and they don't show up. I'm like, the audience isn't there. The audience never is there. So I think that, I think it's going to make, I think it's going to be, well, the ticket prices are probably going to go up in the next couple of years too. Theaters are going to be back. I don't think it's going to make more than Man of Steel. I think it's going to make 6. I think it's going to barely eke out 6 because it's everything else it's going to be associated, not just the baggage, but I have no confidence it's going to be any good.
I'd be surprised if it makes that much. I think they're going to wish they had HBO Max to hide behind with this bastard when it comes out, but that's just me.
Yeah, I think so too. Paul, are you back? Paul is not back. Okay.
Yeah, I'm here.
Oh, okay, yeah. Like, do you think that this Superman movie is going to make more than Man of Steel or less than Superman Returns at the box office?
If they had Michael B. Jordan, I would have, I would.
Yeah, but they won't because he would have been there for Calvin Ellis. But this isn't Calvin Ellis. This is Clark Kent.
It depends on their star, and that'll bring out the African American, movie going crowd for that first weekend, and the hype. But because I think a lot of non-fans are gonna come out just for that shtick. but it depends on who the lead is. I mean, I'm just being honest. Because to a big community, to a large portion of that community, it will be a big deal, and it'll probably be a big weekend, and then fizzle fast.
Yeah,
but it might just be bad.
Yeah. And then Thomas Lee says, for 50 Danish krona, will you great men please do me a favor and invest a bit in cryptocurrencies, the future of financing? And thanks for the tip. And
I think I'll stick with either gold or land for now. If I'm going to invest in anything, which I can't afford either, so
I'm already in there.
Yeah, there you go. Two very opposing points of view, but
Mexican Iron Man. Mexican Iron Man.
I don't understand the cryptic.
Right.
Maybe that's part of the name. I don't know.
And then Ready Player 3 says they should put Bond back in the 60s. He doesn't belong in the modern world. That they make that point clear in the recent movies, don't they? Calling him a dinosaur and everything. So yeah, that's kind of where he belongs. And then Fake Name says, hail. The woke leftist women aren't feminists. They're misandrists. They're far more prejudiced than men. One more time. They're far more prejudiced than the men they claim are toxic. Connery was a god. There's plenty of people that agree with you on that, Fake Name. And then Daniel Hall says, why didn't the Flint movie have the same effect as Austin Powers movies? Flint was just as farcical for the time as Austin Powers was for its time.
I was going to ask Rob that too.
Is Rob here?
I think he had something to deal with. But yeah, that's a good question.
Then we'll have to ask him about that some other time.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, he's a Bond man. I have no clue.
I do know of them, and yeah, like I was gonna ask Rob that at one point about that, the whole and it could just be like between the fact that it's been not just Bond being parodied by Austin Powers, but right there you have Flint, and you've had how many other parodies of it? They even had Spy Hard and God knows Spy with Melissa McCarthy,
Uncle?
The Man from Uncle. Well, that's not really a parody so much as it is similar.
Yeah, especially to American.
Yeah, The Man from Uncle was like a remake of the TV series set during the same time frame. So
yeah,
was it the Kingsman?
Kingsman's very similar-esque.
Just all those cool, slick British assassins,
So is the Avengers, the British version. Yeah, I mean, I think that's part of the problem. Is yes, it's become a very stereotypical kind of look on the character. And I know there's kind of a lot of debate on it, but I feel like that's why at this point you can't really do Bond in a modern era now. And I feel like the best way to do him would be get somebody like a Quentin Tarantino or somebody like that to take Bond back to the 60s where you could just have fun with him in a time period where he fit the best and his villains were kind of set. It's like Indiana Jones. Once you take him out of that period, it just doesn't work. Like that's one of the reasons why Crystal Skull didn't work beyond, Shia LaBeouf and the CGI monkeys. More so, it just was you had Indiana Jones out of his element, out of his time period. We got Rob back, but yeah, the question, Andre, go ahead and read it.
Yeah, the question was, why didn't the Flint movie have the same effect as Austin Powers movies? Flint was just as farcical for the time as Austin Powers was for its time.
And my answer to that was it did kind of the same thing, but yeah, go ahead.
Different era, maybe home video, because and like it's just saturation. Because the Flint movies have just kind of fallen off the radar, the pop culture radar. But the Austin Powers movies were played on basic cable, on regular cable, on home. They were on home video. They were just everywhere. They turned up, in the early days of streaming, and you could turn on just about any channel and watch Austin Powers on basic cable for like a whole weekend, and it just permeated the whole zeitgeist. for the time. And I think the fact that movies stick around longer now, I think is what is the real difference. You know, you want to go see a movie, and back then you paid your couple bucks or $2 or $3 or whatever it was at the time, and you walk out, oh, that was fun, and that was it. And then maybe it would turn up on TV years ago. But now movies are just everywhere. We're talking about them. They're online. They're
you can see it at any point.
Well,
like for instance, with Flint, you could see it in theaters, and then it was gone until it showed up on TV later.
And I brought up
Whereas
the
by
same
the time
point
it was
about-
in Powers, it was on DVD, VHS, TV. It never disappeared.
Well, that's the same point I brought up of why it was a bad idea to remake Ghostbusters. It wasn't so much just because it was a classic as it was a classic from the VHS era. You know, it was a time period where, you know, I bring up King Kong, which I just got in the mail today. You know, when that 76 version came out, a large majority of the people that were out there had not seen the original film. So to them, this was kind of like their first exposure to Kong. But in this era, we've seen Ghostbusters because it's a video classic and it's on cable and all that shit.
Well, the other thing too is Tom, everybody, what's Austin Powers' catchphrase?
Yeah, baby.
Yeah, baby. I'm like that. People would go around saying, it became part. Like I said, it became part of the lexicon. Do I make you horny, baby? You know, yeah, baby. You know, everything. A lot of stuff. The Austin Powers became part of the lexicon and part of the zeitgeist. I can't name a Flintism. You know,
that's true.
And that's the other thing. It permeated to the point where the parody superseded the inspiration or the source material. And I think that is behave. That's right, Senator Hammerstein. And that's the point. And we said that actually, that's where you signals the death of something, is when the parody becomes more prevalent than the source.
Yeah.
You know, the same thing with Archer. You know, Archer. A lot of the Bond things are parody, but that's done satirically. It's not mean-spirited. Austin Powers isn't mean-spirited either, but at the same time,
but that's just another element of what you're saying, though. And I mean, I could be wrong, Ash, if I'm saying that right. Ash 79. Bond works in any era, he says here. But to my point also, though, is we've tried Bond in the modern era, and it's not working out too well. We've never tried going back. Mm-hmm. So without trying, we don't know for sure. But that's at least my feeling on the best way to handle the character personally, because otherwise they're just going to keep going down this road they're going down now, and it's not going to work out.
Actually, Mismatched Socks says actually the parody of Airplane was the same way. Why do you think we don't get any real disaster movies anymore? I mean, we used to.
Well, it took years. Yeah.
I mean, the Poseidon Adventure, Towering Inferno. I mean, there's
Independence Day brought them back, but
yeah. I mean, Airplane did such a good job of making fun of the disaster movie that it took a very long time.
No, that's a great point. If the parody or the remake or the ripoff becomes more popular, look at Bond's become more like Bourne. You know, you have that situation where, and that's a lot like the problem with The Simpsons I brought up the other day when we were bitching about The Simpsons, is The Simpsons became more like Family Guy. So it became a parody of the parody. So it's like a carbon copy of itself.
Actually,
you know, so it's just like, it just doesn't work anymore.
Actually, Natasha, Airplane is pretty much a shot remake of a 1950s movie called 0 Hour. And it's actually, you play them side by side. I mean,
it's because the dialogue was just that cringe.
Yeah.
Like there's a few things here and there added in, but otherwise, no, it is literally that. But anyhow, we need to move along here with these super chats because we're getting long in the tooth.
Well, okay, she says she knows. I know you knew, but still, for everybody else's benefit. Okay, good.
Yeah. Of course, Natasha knew, but you knew that she knew, didn't you, Rob?
Yeah. Yeah.
And Airplane's another one I have like no less than 3 copies of, plus the 4K version.
My nephew was watching Airplane with my nephew he said, "Oh, that plane looks so fake." I'm like, "Yeah, that's the point."
They've killed parody movies even. So.
Yeah. On the topic of Bond, House Atreides says for $10 Canadian in Casino Royale, they had a chance to be able to put anyone in that role. When Daniel Craig was officially given the 007 rating, if they had said your code name is James Bond, they could have used anyone. I was actually thinking that too. That you see like that in the intro when it's like written, when it says like written like code status 007. They could have said like 007 James Bond, made that thing real, would have saved themselves a lot of trouble later on. So I was thinking that actually. Of course, I know that's going to offend Rob to the core, but
please don't get me started on the codename theory, because I've talked extensively about it, and it's not a code name. It
the number's the code. The name is a person.
Exactly.
And I understood that once you explained it to me.
Yes, Commander. He actually signs his resignation letter. Commander, James Bond at the end. Commander he was a commander in the Royal Navy. I mean, so there's more evidence suggesting saying it's not a code name than there is. The only thing people the thing people hinge the code name theory are the same 4 words. Well, it's not impossible. And then it's all fan fiction.
Yeah, but it doesn't make sense if you actually watch the movies, as I'm doing now, because even though there's obviously year gaps in between these movies, they're meaning to take place very close in chronological, or like they refer to certain things. Like I do catch little moments where they call back and talk about certain, like it's clearly this is supposed to be the same person. Like, I mean that's pretty obvious. But again,
one of the things I point out is if they're all different men, if these are all different men, how come Lois Maxwell's character, Miss Moneypenny, she carries on a flirtation with all of them? You think at some point she would say, I like the other one better.
Exactly. That's I was going to bring up that point too. Or they would mention like one of the other Bonds, instead of another agent or double.
What do you think? What do you think of him, Moneypenny? Well, not as charming as the last guy.
Yeah, and with that, Paulie does have to leave us here, but we're going to get to the rest of these super chats ourselves, so please stick around. But Paulie, you do have to check out, tell the folks where they can find you and what's going on tomorrow.
Tonight I'm going to have a little 5 o'clock hour show special going over the new music of Los Lobos with one of the fandoms, Los Lobos fandom. Their what do you call it? The president of their Los Lobos fan club. So. And their new music is awesome. It's covers of LA bands. I'm so excited. So 5 o'clock tonight.
That's on the Latino Slant. And then tomorrow morning, not tomorrow morning. I'm thinking Friday. Okay. Yeah. Tuesday, you'll be doing Midnight's Edge Espanol in the morning.
Yes, on the Midnight's Edge Espanol channel, hopefully.
Yes, I was getting my days screwed up here. I thought it was
definitely on the Midnight's Edge Espanol channel.
Yeah.
Indeed.
Thanks a lot, everyone.
Yes, thanks for hanging in there, Paulie. Take care.
Yeah. All right. Take care. Bye, guys.
Let's get back to these super chats.
Yes. Next up, we have Ray Fernandez, who says Nolan and Bale was the greatest Batman we have had so far. Well, opinions are divided on the subject, but yeah, that's a valid opinion. And Michael MacLeod says, pitch idea. Alice Cooper as the voice of a CGI version of the Spectre.
Welcome to my nightmare.
The question is, how good at voice acting is Alice Cooper? I mean, I know he does radio DJing and stuff now, but yeah, I mean, he's never. I mean, yeah, he does. He does like it's like on a syndicated show. He just plays like classic rock and stuff and talks about.
Okay. Yeah, sure. Good old days.
Yeah.
There's a couple of guys who do those kind of things now. But yeah, I guess the question is, can he actually voice act? That's the bigger question. I get the idea, though. I mean, it makes sense, but yeah,
I would not be opposed to it. But that's me. And
because he's only played himself that I know of in movies. So,
well, he played Freddy Krueger's dad.
Yeah, that's true. I forgot all about it. I can't believe I just forgot that. You're right. And he did do all right in there. So, you know what? He might pull. He was one of the highlights of that movie. So,
yeah, exactly. I think he would be great as that. Billy Idol is a great voice artist, for instance. I mean, this someone is going to be very accustomed to a mic. So,
Alice could probably pull it off. Yeah.
I think he could. I don't know much about the Spectre, to be honest. But I wouldn't be surprised if he did pretty okay with that. And then moving on from there, we have let's see. Darius Münchhausen says Snooky for Red Sonja, Hyborian Shore. Yeah, that would be something.
Snooky? I don't know about that.
Yeah. And then Stone Gasman says for $50. Whoa, thank you so much, Stone Gasman. And he says, I'll bring it up on screen here. See if I can get this whole thing up without StreamYard's cutting it. That's going to be a challenge, but we shall try. He says, applause for Midnight's Edge and their tremendous amount of work. Oh, thank you. Have you seen the trailer you get for Paul Verhoeven's Benedetta about lesbian nuns in the 17th century, set for premiere, and there it was cut, but the full super chat reads, set for premiere at Cannes. Can't wait for the toxic femininity episode on that one, Tom. I have not seen that trailer. I have not heard of that movie, but I'm a big fan of Verhoeven, so I will definitely go check that out now. And yeah, I also look forward to it.
Yeah, I have
published
not
on,
even heard of it until now.
Yeah, but thanks for the tip. We'll be sure to check that out.
Benetta, it's called?
Benedetta.
Benedetta.
So do look that up. And Mecha J wonders, what does Hollywood have against redheads? I can only imagine that they must be an easy target. That's like the best thing I can think about, because like if you, again, they're like one of the smallest minorities on the population of Earth. But still, they no representation for them. But again, they're a minority within whites, which of course are themselves a minority on a worldwide scale. But yeah, easy targets, but best I can think of.
It's weird, I know,
Yeah. And then the Whitfield report says Angie Everhart would have been a killer Red Sonja back in the 90s or early 2000s. Shame this didn't happen then. Yeah, this would have been the time frame to do it, absolutely. And Pablo Papano says, why isn't Octavia Spencer being cast for Red Sonja? Typed with much sarcasm. Well, careful, I'm sure she can still be in the movie. I'm sure they'll find a way for her. And ActionCom says for $10, thank you so much. When it comes to films like Red Sonja, is it better to bulk up an actor a la Christopher Reeves, or have a muscle girl attempt to act a la Schwarzenegger? Well, that's a good question, but here's like the thing. Red Sonja actually doesn't have to be a bodybuilder. She doesn't have to be Miss Fitness. She only has to be like reasonably buff. So I would say have someone that has like, you don't need like an Oscar-winning actress or something. You basically need someone whose personality is a right fit for with what they're going for, and have them just bulk up for 6 months, and that's really all you need. You don't need like a fitness specialist for the role of Red Sonja. For something like Conan, that's a different matter. But for Red Sonja, you don't need a bodybuilder. And Meredith G says Hannah is 5'6". Compared to Bridget Nielsen. Hannah may be a good actress. She is not a good match for Red Sonja. Yeah, indeed. Indeed it is. And when we were talking about various Midnight's Edge, then Spider Unlimited chimed in. Midnight's Edge, Boston. And Diego Flores says, we still need Tom to watch Las Tres Marias, the iconic telenovelas with Dahlia as a protagonist. I guess you must know what he's talking about, Tom.
Not offhand. The Three
Marias, iconic telenovelas with Talia as protagonist?
A telenovela.
While you look for that, Darth Husted sent us a little doggy super sticker, so thanks for that. And Hyper Guyver 2, he has actually a really, really good question here that I think that many of our audience might be interested in. So I'm going to put it up on screen. He asks, any advice or tips for aspiring YouTubers? Guys, do you have any tips?
Don't. No. Do something you love. Find something you're really, really into, especially if nobody else is talking about it. Eventually you'll find your audience, because if it's something you spend a lot of time doing, chances are it's going to have to be a hobby for a while, because the entry into YouTube isn't what it used to be.
No, far from it.
So
I'm glad we started when we did, let's say.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, go ahead, Andre, take it.
Yes, I was just going to say, Rob, I know that you have to be off. Do you have any advice before you have to be running, if you haven't run already?
Yeah, just like I said, just cover what you love, and just and just treat it as it's whatever you're passionate about, man. That's the beauty of YouTube. You talk about whatever you're passionate about, whether it's music, sports, whatever, current events, and just the main thing is to have fun. Have fun with it. I mean, like I said, it's gonna take a while to get your footing, but just stick with it.
Yeah, that's solid advice there. Tom, carry on.
Oh, the only other thing I was going to say is the most important thing is sound. Like, make sure you got a fairly decent mic in a fairly decent area to work in. Yeah.
Get yourself like I said, I use a Blue Yeti mic. Just find a decent mic. You don't need to break the bank in terms of equipment, but just but it does make a difference. It really does. And there's editing software out there that can be had for free. I use DaVinci Resolve a lot. That's very good software for free. So you can get started pretty cheap, but just do what you love, and just like I said, just keep at it. All right, gentlemen, I got to get going. I got to see to a couple
All
things.
right.
Okay?
Yeah.
Gentlemen, all right, everybody, have a good weekend. Peace and love, as Ringo would say. Peace and love. I'll talk to you later.
Well, here's one you should answer before.
Oh, wait, okay. Why did Bond work in the past? Men of the time wanted to be him. Again, because like I said, the legacy of Austin Powers, and because the climate's changed. We have women who's, I don't need no man. I'm a strong, independent woman. Like, why do I sound like Geraldine? Anyway.
Well, at the same time, though, Bond was a big part of the same era of the sexual revolution, though. Rob.
Yeah, sexual. You had the late '60s, the mid to late '60s, sexual revolution, new sexual openness, free love, that whole bit,
Women
whatever.
having more choices.
Yeah. Well, women can say, I can sleep with any man I want,
which goes right to what you're saying. Women of the time wanted to be with him.
Mm-hmm.
They could be with a dangerous man like Bond, and they didn't have to worry about the commitment.
You know what Wilt Chamberlain said about Andre? Do you know who Wilt Chamberlain is?
Yes.
Okay. Allegedly, he had slept with 20,000 women. Allegedly, I say allegedly. Now he was on Howard Stern. He asked him, "Goes, what about this, Wilt? 20,000 women? Well, Howard, you got to remember, it was a different time back then. It was the '60s, free love and everything." He goes, "Yeah, but a lot of people say you use women." He goes, "Hey, Howard, I was there for the using, okay?" And that's the other thing. Bond, he was there for the using. that was another part of it.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, good answer there. And all right, Rob, thanks for joining us today, and we'll be sure to speak again soon.
All right, take care, guys. Everybody, peace and love. See you later.
Yeah, and to get back to the question of any advice for aspiring YouTubers, Prince Andrew had a really good one here. Get the date up.
Or don't
actually, you know what?
Job. That's the other. Yeah.
Yeah, I fully agree with this, because here's the thing. Tom, you really hit the nail. If you're going to start something on YouTube, it has to be something that you are passionate about and that you absolutely love doing. That's an absolute necessity. And the reason is that if you are to succeed on YouTube, it's gonna be a churn. You'll work harder on it than you've ever worked on anything else in your life. I guarantee you. So in order to be able to do that for what may be very, very little gratification for a very long time, you have to love it. You have to love what you're doing. It has to be a true passion, and it has to be a hobby that you want to invest the time in, because for a very long time, it's not going to pay your bills. And unless you are really strategic about what you do, it may never pay your bills.
Yeah.
So it's again, first figure out what is it that you want to do with this. Is it a hobby? If it's a hobby, then fine. Go for it and have fun with it. But if you want to grow the channel, and like if that's like what you want to do, you have to be really strategic about everything. Everything you do, you have to think: is this entertaining? Why should anyone check in to watch this? It's not enough that you think it's cool, because there's a million YouTube channels out there
Yeah.
with the stuff that the uploader thinks is cool, and it has like 2-3 views. You always have to think, why would anyone else watch this? What can I bring to the table that others haven't? That's what you have to do.
Yeah.
Or of course you could just do like some makeup stuff that there's a million others doing, but as long
Well,
as
the worst thing you can do is,
people have a reason to watch it.
I was gonna say, well, the worst thing you could do is really mimic others. I mean, in a sense of just not doing this. I mean, you can mimic others like in a sense of learning how to edit or learning certain styles or certain things like that. There's nothing wrong with that. But I mean, if you, like Andre just said, there's already a million makeup to do channels out there. Unless you're bringing something new or unique to the table, you're gonna get lost in the mix, right?
Yeah.
It's a fact of life. So unless you're doing something that's unique that nobody else is doing, then, you know, it's just a great example is the couple of guys in the community. They talk nerd shit, but they do it while they're building Lego sets or painting figures and stuff like that. You can always find a little niche. You never know what will take off for you. But that's the thing, is you have to love it, like Andre said, because if you don't, it's going to be something that's going to take a lot of your time and you're not going to get a lot of thanks for.
Yeah, exactly. And also, it's much more difficult now than when we started out. Like
Right.
Midnight Red started out in 2015, and YouTube was a completely different landscape then. Like the thing that we quickly did was like behind the scenes production mess and all of that jazz, right? No one else did that. There was no one else doing it at the time, not the way that we did. So that was like
Yeah.
our claim to fame.
You had
Right there.
the
Now you have a time of many that do it, but
you had the
yeah.
reviewers, and you had the colliders and the access media places to go to. But
Oh, you had, and that's why we said spin free, because we
Yeah.
didn't buy into.
and that's how I found this channel. I mean, I wasn't here initially either. I found the channel through the Fantastic Four and stuff like that. So like, you know, like a lot of you guys listening, it's the same kind of thing. I was looking for that kind of a voice out there because I knew this was bullshit I was being fed by the media. You know, I knew enough on my end of things to be like, oh, this is crap. They're full of shit. And I started seeing a lot of the stuff that was happening, and I never thought it would lead to this kind of a rabbit hole. But that's the thing, is you never know what kind of, you know, road you'll find yourself on once you get on YouTube. But a lot of it's trial and error too. There's a lot of times where I've done a lot of different things on here that just didn't work out. You know, it happens. So don't always get discouraged either if the first thing you try out the gate doesn't work out.
No, it's a churn. It's a churn, and you have to be discovered. And as we said, like just look with the Midnight's Edge Espanol right now. Like it has to start from scratch, because if you type in Midnight's Edge Espanol right now in YouTube, nothing's going to show up. The channel already has like more than 200 subscribers. And it's still like it's not recommended anywhere or anything. It's gonna like need your help to get started, and we already have a community to help us out. If you start out from scratch, you're not gonna have that. Like it's a challenge. It's gonna be a long road to that first 100 and that first subscribers, the first 1,000 subscribers. I mean, you see like many of the people that we associate with, like and work with here in this sphere, when their channels hit like 1K, 2K, we celebrated like Lorena's Creole 2K subscribers here last week. It's something to celebrate because there's a lot of work that goes into that. Really is. And then moving on from there, we just have to get back to where we were. Oh yeah, here we go. Brown Gaijin says, so Vocosos would be against La India Maria. I have no idea what that means. Paulie isn't here, so we'll have to direct that to when some of the Midnight Set Espanol guys are here. And the Patriarch says Becky Lynch should be Red Sonja. She already looks like Sonja and she can fight. You know what? Yeah, I agree. Becky Lynch has been a fan favorite for Red Sonja for years, so she would be a great fit. And then Nightmare X123 said for $10. I have a deep-seated desire to use social justice tactics to attempt to bring down the Black Superman film by accusing Warner Brothers of blackface via race-swapping Superman. Nightmare, you don't have to do anything because they already have a Cyborg that goes and calls them out for it, and I think he's going to continue to do so with like Ray Fisher. He's been calling them out, and that's not going to stop. So I think you can just sit back and watch. And then Iber B-Man says, this would be a good time for Mark Millar's Superior comic to get made into a film. It's a spiritual successor to Superman. It's Big meets Superman. Yeah, problem is that modern Marvel, would be the ones making that movie. How much bigger or better would that be? I'm not so sure. And then Buttcrack Media sent us a poop super sticker, so that's pretty cool. And Grigori1 sends for $5 Australian, a white Superman who grew up in the bush among Aussie Aboriginals. Oh yeah, that would be quite a take. And Vogue says for $20 Mexican, thank you so much, new Dragon Ball Super movie announcement. Has there been one? I don't know if I don't follow Dragon Ball, but if there has, then cool for the fans. Hope it'll be better than the last one. And Kryptonborn1 says, ever since I saw X-Men Days of Future Past, I felt that an older Sophie Turner could be Red Sonja. She's still at a good age for a long franchise. She could be okay, I guess. I'd have to see a little bit more personality than she has displayed so far, but she certainly has the hair color for it. And Daniel says England didn't firebomb Dresden in World War II because they wanted traitors to have representation. This is about breaking our toys, not stealing them. That's a apt point right there. And this. Tom, how do you say it?
If I'm not mistaken, it looks like this, I this.
This.
Yeah.
It says, you guys, do you know that Disney has locked down all rights to The Simpsons?
Well, yeah, I would assume so since they own Fox now, yeah.
Yeah.
You mean that they bought out whatever remaining rights that whatever other entities might have had out there? I don't know.
If they have, I'm not surprised.
Yeah, because they're a merchandising juggernaut. That's the only thing they're worth anymore. So I wouldn't be surprised. It cleans up all the nice loose ends.
Yeah, exactly. And Harry Nice Guy says, if they try to get me back into theaters after Cov with an e.g. Black Superman, the word home quarantine gets a whole new meaning to me. Hashtag stop spreading. Yeah, I think I don't know how big that's going to be in theaters, so that'll be interesting to see. And Captain Hare says, Midnight's Edge for deviants or bust. Call it Club Med. And the People's Poet says, oh, I got it. Kathy Griffin. And what that's connected to, I do not know, but that's what he said.
Could be a varied amount of things, so I'm not sure on that. You have to clarify.
And then we have a couple of more. Dash D says for $5 Canadian. So when you guys start a military history knife collecting EMT firefighting channel, let me know. I know a guy who would love to work with you.
Gotcha.
That's cool. Gotcha. Yeah, point taken.
I don't know about the military history or the EMT firefighting, but you never know about the knife. I've got a sai and a couple sais and a sword to start with, so we might talk about what sharp-edged weapons. I got to imagine you got at least a sword over there from Conan or something, Andre.
Actually, I have a couple of figurines. And that's
you just got figurines? That's it? No real swords? Did you see that they got a He-Man sword replica?
I have a big freaking axe, though. I have that, but it's not
good. Now we're talking. But did you see that they've got a full-sized He-Man sword replica coming out?
No, I didn't see that.
Yeah, fucker's like going to be like $800 or something like that, I think.
Oh, okay.
That's crazy amount. I'll look and see if I can find it again here. But yeah,
yeah, that's cool.
Yeah,
but yeah, no, I got an axe. I'm an axe man. That's it. So, yeah.
You're an ass man. I mean, axe man, huh?
Axe man. Yeah.
That's not a bad idea, though. Dash D's. There you go.
Yeah. And then Diego Flores says, good news, Andre. Used my sister's account. Found the channel. We are visible when you look for it. Oh, awesome. Well, we're getting there.
Nice.
See, they're starting to help. And also, what did you need from Midnight's Edge Espanol? There was like some Maria question in here somewhere. That I didn't get understand the first thing of. Oh, yeah. Here. Brown Gajan wondered, so Wokosos would be against La India Maria. I don't know what the hell that means.
So you have to translate for us.
Yeah. I'm going to put it up on screen here. Diego, tell us, what does that mean? So I know the Wokosos would be against La India Maria. What is an India Maria?
Andre, buy this for us. We'll get two. We could fight.
Send me the link.
$600 though. $600.
Oh fuck. Well, if
I know it's a beauty though.
If our
beaut.
Well, maybe we can get one. Maybe we'll do like a
we'll share it. Yeah, it'll cost us as much. It'll get lost. They won't let it go in customs. I was going to say you can ship it back and forth. No.
Well, if it's a sword, I would expect nothing like that.
Until next year, though. So.
And Diego Flores, he has the answer. That is because it is a series about a Mexican girl with native blood that would be called problematic.
Oh, okay.
Oh, all right. Okay. Well, that's interesting. Oh, see, there we go. There we go. That's something that I'm sure you guys can get back into next Tuesday on the first Midnight's Edge Espanol live show on the actual Midnight's Edge Espanol channel. So go and check that out. And with that, I do believe we are. I think there was one super chat.
We got that one. So let's see here.
Yeah, no, I think it was a slightly older one.
We got to run through that article real quick too. That we promised everybody we never went through.
Yeah, Tom, why don't you do that? Well, I
got it ready. All right. Yeah. So, according to Esquire, the worst Marvel characters in the Marvel Cinematic Universe ranked. Note it says
Marvel Cinematic Universe. That was the other thing I was going to ask you earlier, too. We've got middle-aged Groot. No one likes Groot, which is bullshit. He was one of the most breakout fucking characters.
No, actually, no. You got it wrong. He's the most likable because they start with most likable and go to
I
least
suppose,
likable.
but I wouldn't even put him on the least likable list. That's my point. And then we got Dr. Mara Hansen, who, well, yeah, her character should have been the bad guy like it was originally written. That was their fault. Thanos. Why the fuck is Thanos on this list? That is fucking ridiculous. Captain, what? Yeah, I can see that one. Carly, nobody likes her. Flash Thompson, yeah, he was a shit version of the character. Bill Maher. Ultron, what? Okay, I guess. Trevor, I can understand. I don't mind him, but I understand. Ronan, yeah, he was a bit generic. Whiplash doesn't belong on here. Tony Stark definitely does not belong on here. Red Skull don't belong on here. Star-Lord's number 7, yeah. Definitely don't belong in here. Malekith. Yeah, Malekith was stupid. Ralph Boner. Yeah, okay. Elon Musk, because he was in half a scene, I guess. Taylor Howard is nobody remembers from WandaVision. Hawkeye is number 2, and number 1 is Bill O'Reilly, as Andre pointed out before. Oh, Esquire, you're pushing it. You're pushing it. This is like the dumbest thing I've ever seen in my life. My God.
Yeah. And Dr. Coffin Nail says, Andre, can you pronounce the name of Thor's hammer again for me? Oh, you mean Mjolnir? Yeah, the hammer's name is Mjolnir. And we're about to get to that hammer very, very soon in my members' exclusive reading of Norse mythology. So a new installment of that is coming very, very soon. Mjolnir isn't going to be in that one, but he's due pretty soon. So yeah, and we have I found the one missing super chat. I knew there was one that I saw, but I didn't quite get, and I found it right here. Raging Golden says, "Doing something with your life is how white supremacy."
So true. How you doing, Raging Golden Eagle? It's been a while since I talked to you. How you been, man? If you're still listening.
Yeah. And and with that, we are fully caught up.
And I think that's as good a place as any to close things down for today. Unless you wanted to bring up anything else today, Andre, or
no, actually, I take that back. We got one more that I missed in between there. Stephen Otten says, theaters have fully reopened here. Planning to see Wrath of Man first. What better than Statham being Statham for 2 hours to get us restarted? And now, yeah, I hope that's like Crank 3, because that would be something.
As much as I didn't like Crank 2, yeah.
Yeah. And World of Conan says, you guys like spaghetti westerns? Just watched If You Meet Sartana, Pray for Your Death. Was really good. Haha, love the titles. Have a good funeral. Sartana will pay. Love the Leone movies.
Yeah, I haven't seen...
love the... yeah, carry on, Tom.
I was gonna say I haven't seen that one, but yeah, of course, you know, all the Clint Eastwood ones and a few of the others, definitely, for sure.
Yeah. Like I've also seen like the Leone movies, and I also like the Trinity movies and the Man with No Names, like some of the Bud Spencer and Terence Hill movies, both of whom are Italian. Like I was quite old by the time I figured that out. It was pretty embarrassing actually, but that's how that is. So yeah, no, I do like me a good spaghetti western every now and then. And with that, I do believe it's time for some koalas. But before that, I want to say thank to the Critical Drinker for joining us, to Paulie for joining us, to all the guys over at Midnight's Edge Espanol, and to everyone who supported us there this week and signed up for that. We really, really appreciate all the support that we can get there. And thanks so much for watching us now. We'll have more videos for you this weekend. Yes. But for right now, it's time for some koalas in the rain.
Indeed, it is.
Koalas in the rain, no fucks given.